Hey guys, welcome to the channel. As you see in the thumbnail, what if Issei was descendant of Albion and Ambrosius and Harem? Before I start, please do support for more awesome content, and subscribe my channel and like this video. Go support and follow the Lucifer Jessia for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story. Link in the description. Issei Hayato, a young boy about years old with brown hair, save for a few strands of silver and blue eyes, currently wearing a tank top and underwear, is lay asleep, having a strange dream. Little did he know, this dream would change his life forever. Dreamscape. Where am I? Issei is currently walking around the blank space of his dream, looking for any form of movement from within the void. From the corner of his eye, he saw a white figure moving at extreme speeds. He quickly jolted his to the direction of the blur, hoping to find out the identity of the unknown creature. So this is my host. A booming voice was heard, causing Issei to jump from the intense volume. Issei turned his head to find the owner of the strange voice, and stood awestruck at the sight before him. This is the first time I have had a host so young. You must be quite strong to have awakened me so early in your life. Issei's eyes went wide in recognition. What he saw was a large, white western dragon, with blue eyes and two golden horns atop its head. Are you Albion, the heavenly dragon? So you know who I am? Issei nodded his head. My Oto-san told me that we were descendants of Albion when I discovered my dragon wings. This time it was Albion's turn. Widen his eyes, before laughing heartily, which caused Issei to tilt his head in confusion. To think I am wielded by my own descendant. You, child, have the potential to become my strongest host yet. What do you mean, host? Issei asked, still confused at how his ancestor could be in his head. Are you not aware of the sacred gears? Issei shook his head in reply. I see. Well then I shall tell you, Albion said before transforming himself, and the area around him. The two were now sitting in an empty cafe. Albion was sitting opposite Issei in his human form. White spiked hair, a well-toned body, wearing a white biker jacket over a light blue undershirt, and white slacks. I'm going to keep this short as we don't have much time before you wake up. Sacred gears are basically weapons created by God of the Bible, bestowed upon humans by the system, in heaven, all with different appearances and abilities. Issei nodded in understanding. Among the sacred gears, there are that stand out above the rest, known as the Longinus, each with the potential to kill God if you can master it. So what does this have to do with me? He asked curiously. Wait. Does this mean you're a sacred gear? Not exactly. I am the spirit residing in the sacred gear. I was sealed inside, divine dividing, after my death. A security professional finds himself in the body of one of the anime characters he has known for long. Watch Andrew slain now. Issei Hayato navigate the dangerous world. How did you die? You know of the rivalry between Drake and I, right? Issei nodded. Well, the fight started during the Great War, when the angels, devils and fallen angels were fighting. The three powers saw us fighting and mutually agreed to put a stop to our fight, and killed us both. We were then sealed in sacred gears. Drake was put in the boosted gear, and I in divine dividing. I should tell you now that those who wield our sacred gears are destined to fight, so you should use the early awakening as an advantage to prepare for your encounter with the Red One. Issei nodded before his eyes widened in realization. So you're saying that I have your sacred gear? Albion nodded before looking out of the window. It's almost time for you to wake up. When you do, I will run through the steps on how to activate the sacred gear. Issei nodded. Speak to you soon, partner. Hayato residence. Issei, time to wake up. Breakfast is ready. Issei's mother shouted from the other side of his door. YWNOK Ka-san, Issei said tiredly as he got up from his bed. Yawning again as he recalled the events in his dream. Was that all just a dream? That was no dream, partner. Issei jumped slightly at the voice that seemingly appeared from out of nowhere. So it wasn't a dream. I really do have a sacred gear. Yes, you do, but before we activate it, you should probably go downstairs like your Oka-san asked you to. Issei nodded before asking, should I tell my parents? I've heard that my Two-san was really strong when he was younger, so maybe he can help me train. Albion grunted in agreement before adding, that would help a lot. You said he is my descendant, right? He mentally nods in agreement. Then there's no doubt that he knows of the rivalry between the Sekiryutai and the Hakuryuku, so I'm sure he'll want to prepare you as best he can for your inevitable fight. I see. Hurry up, your breakfast's getting cold. His mother shouted, snapping him out of his conversation with Albion. Coming. he shouted back before getting dressed and bolting down the stairs. As he arrived in the dining room, he saw a woman who looked to be in her late 20s, with brown hair reaching her waist, tied in a ponytail and blue eyes. She was wearing a white blouse and brown pants, with an apron over the top. This woman was Hitomi Hayato, formerly Ambrosius, and as he entered he noticed the angry expression on her face while her hands were planted on her hips as she scolded her son. "What in the world were you doing up there? I called you over minutes ago." Issei gulped nervously while the other person in the room chuckled to himself. He was a tall, well-built man with a head of unkempt silver hair, with blue eyes, wearing a black formal suit, minus the tie which loosely hung around his neck, and the overcoat which was placed on the back of the chair. He folded his newspaper and placed it on the table, while sipping his coffee before speaking. "There's no need to get so mad, Hitomi. It was only 10 minutes, he said before finishing with a smile. His wife sighed. "I know that, Tatsuya, but his lessons begin today. His tutor will arrive expecting a capable student, which won't be Issei if he doesn't eat his breakfast." She turned to Issei and looked at him curiously. "What were you doing anyway?" "I was talking to Albion-san." After he said this, his parents both stared at him dumbfounded as his father spoke. How did you speak to Albion?" "He said that he was sealed in the sacred gear I have inside of me." Both of his parents' jaws dropped when they absorbed this new information. "Say, Albion-san, can we activate the sacred gear yet?" "Sure thing, partner. Just stand in an open space." He nodded before moving to the open corner of the room as his parents looked at him curiously. "What are you doing?" his father asked him. "Albion-san is telling me how to activate the sacred gear." His father nodded. "Now focus your energy on the area where your wings appear. But don't allow your wings to come out." Issei did as he was told. Suddenly there was a bright flash that caused the Hayato family to cover their eyes. When they opened them, Issei's parents looked at him shocked. He noticed this and followed their gaze to his back. There he saw a pair of white wings with blue feathers that looked like they were made of energy. "This is divine dividing. Like the name suggests, it has the power to divide things. To use it, you have to make contact with a person, then the wings will automatically divide his/her power every 10 seconds and give it to you. If you want to dismiss it, just think about turning it off." Albion spoke. "Amazing, a descendant of Albion, who also wields Albion," Issei's father said as he dismissed divine dividing. "Tusan, can you help me train? I want to be able to use this sacred gear thing, and to do that I need to get stronger," Issei asked with determination. His father looked to be deep in thought for a moment before frowning slightly. "I'm afraid I'm a bit too busy with work to help you, son. The best I could do for you is write some sort of training program for now." Hearing this, Issei nods vigorously. "That'll be fine. I wouldn't need anything too advanced for a while." "Very well, I'll write it up during my lunch break and give it to you at the end of the day. For now, you should just focus on the lessons you have today." Tatsuya replied with his wife nodding in agreement. "Okay," said. A determined smile adorned his face as his parents watched unamused. Time skip year later. Issei was dedicated to getting stronger. Although the training was basic at best, he had still grown to be considerably stronger over the year he trained. It was currently the weekend. Issei had taken the day off from his training. He and his parents were on their way to meet with one of Hitomi's old friends at the shrine on top of the hill. The three were walking peacefully as Issei spoke up. "Where are we going, Oka-san?" the year-old asked curiously. "We're going to visit an old friend of mine. She's a shrine maiden at the shrine up the hill," she said while pointing to the top of the staircase leading to the shrine. Issei paled slightly at the number of steps he would have to climb. The Hayato family made their way up the stairs and found themselves staring at a shrine, which looked to have been taken care of extremely well. While the three were admiring the view, they heard a sudden voice. "Hitomi, is that you?" All three looked in the same direction to see a young woman, about Hitomi's height with raven black hair and violet eyes. She was wearing a shrine maiden's outfit, consisting of a white haori with red accents, a red hakama, and a pair of zora with white tabi. Behind the woman was a young girl, about Issei's age. She appeared to be a miniature version of her mother. The same features, with the same clothes, albeit a smaller size. "Hey, Shuri, it's been a long time, hasn't it?" Issei's mother replied with a smile. The girl who was hiding behind the now named Shuri peeked her head around Shuri's leg as a voice was heard from behind the two girls. "Shuri?" Said woman turned around and saw a middle-aged, gruff-looking man with black hair, matching beard and a muscular body. "Who are these people?" "This is my friend, Hitomi from high school," with who I assume to be her husband and son," she said with a questioning glance towards her old friend. "That's right. This is my husband Tatsuya," he waved with a smile as he was introduced, "and my son Issei." Hitomi noticed the young girl behind her childhood friend and turned to her son Issei. "Honey, she looks like she might be the same age as you, so why don't you go and introduce yourself?" Issei nodded before walking slowly forward and bowing. "And my name's Issei Hayato. I'm years old." The girl looks up to her mother and walks forward when she receives a nod in return. "Akino Himejima. She says timidly. "Wanna go play together?" Akino's face considerably brightens when he says this. "Can we go, please?" she asked her parents. They chuckle lightly before replying, "Yes, but don't go too far." As she said that, Akino hugged her mother and father before grabbing Issei's hand and running off to play. Shuri watched the two run off together, as she whispered into her husband's ear, "Do you think she'll show him what she really is?" Shuri looks conflicted for a second as he whispers back, "If she does, I hope he doesn't think of her any differently. She seems really scared of her other half. He seems like a nice boy, and if he's Hitomi's son, then he probably inherited her kindness too." She shook her head as she spoke to their two guests. "Well, shall we go in? I'll make us some tea and we can catch up with each other." The Hayatos nodded and followed Shuri into the shrine. Time skipped months. Akino and Issei quickly became best friends after the day they met. Whenever Issei wasn't training or with his tutor, he was at the shrine with Akino. They even slept at each other's houses from time to time. Both fathers were good friends with each other. They even went out drinking on occasion, and their mothers were still friends like they were in high school. Akino and Issei were exploring the nearby forest, when Akino suddenly turned around with a sad expression on her face. "Is everything alright, Akino-chan? You look a little sad?" Issei asked, a worried expression plastered on his face. "Na Issei-kun, if I was something different, would you hate me?" Akino replied with a shaky voice. "Of course not, it wouldn't matter what you are. You'll always be the Akino-chan that I know," he told her with a smile. Akino had a hopeful expression on her face. She smiles at his words, with tears threatening the corners of her eyes as she turned away from Issei and let out her wings. Issei looked shocked for a second before realizing what she meant. "She was afraid I wouldn't like her, because she's a fallen angel." Seeing Issei's shocked face broke her heart as she spoke. "I'm a fallen angel, Issei-san. You must think I'm a freak," she said softly as tears slowly fell from her eyes. She closed her eyes thinking the worst, but promptly widened them in shock as she felt something stroking her wings. Turning around, she saw Issei with a small smile on his face as he slowly caressed the black feathers spread across her back. "You're beautiful, Akino-chan, with or without wings. There is nothing wrong with being different. In fact, we're more alike than you think." Akino tilted her head in confusion before they widened once more as Issei released his dragon wings. "See, I'm not exactly normal either, I'm a dragon." "You aren't a freak, Akino-chan, you are a beautiful person, no matter what you are," he said as she turned to him, wiping the tears from her eyes, wearing the biggest smile he has ever seen. However, while he was busy looking at her face, he failed to notice her edging forward slightly before lunging straight at him and wrapping him in a tight hug, before crashing her lips onto his. Issei went wide-eyed at the sudden act of affection from Akino, sure she would constantly tease him to no end, but that was all because she was a sadist, and while she has kissed him on the cheek before, he was shocked to say the least. He remained shocked for all of seconds before slowly easing up and returning the kiss with just as much passion he was receiving from Akino. After a minute, they broke off the kiss for air, blushing heavily as Akino spoke with a teasing smile. "How did you enjoy our first kiss, Issei-kun?" Said person just looked away with an even bigger blush before mumbling incoherently, "What was that?" "I enjoyed it, Akino-chan," he said while blushing up a storm, fighting in vain to suppress it. Akino giggled at his reaction before dismissing her wings. Issei noticed this and did the same. Akino then grabbed his hand and began to drag him back to her house. "Come on, Issei-kun, Ka-san said dinner's gonna be ready soon." Issei smiled as he allowed Akino to drag him to her home. It was now late in the night, and Issei was saying his goodbyes to Akino and her parents as he began to walk home. So Akino, the girl in question, turned to her father at the call of her name, judging by the expression on your face and the blush on his face. "I'm guessing he took it well?" She nodded happily at Barakil's question. "He told me I was beautiful, even if I am a fallen angel. He even showed me his wings. Betrayal and Shuri both looked confused at this newfound information. He has wings too, what is he? Her father asked curiously. He's a dragon. Her parents were once again shocked at this discovery. Now that you mention it, I did feel a dragonic aura around Issei. I had thought that it was just a sacred gear, but to think he was a dragon. Well, whoever he gets the dragon side from is very good at hiding their aura. Say, Akino, why was Issei blushing while you two got back? Her mother asked with the same teasing smile Akino wears. Akino blushed as she answered. I kissed him. On the lips her face was colored a deep crimson as she admitted this to her parents, causing them to roar out in laughter, which only caused her more embarrassment. As the laughter died down, her father patted her on the shoulder and said, I approve of your choice, Akino. He is a good boy, I can tell. And from the looks of things he likes you just as much. Shuri nodding in agreement, as Akino hummed happily at the thought of being together with Issei. Time skip year later. Issei's parents had left on a business trip to Kyoto for a few days, so they had requested that the Himejima family look after him for them. Of course, Issei was ecstatic to be spending more time with Akino, so he eagerly accepted to stay. Betrayal had helped Issei train for the first 3 days, as he was required to return to the Grigori for a mission the day after, where he would stay for a few days. Over the year Issei had spent with Akino and her family, Issei thought of Shuri as a mother figure, even though he already had one. It was late at night. Issei, Akino and Shuri were playing card games together when Issei's nose suddenly twitched and he adopted a serious look. Shuri noticed this and asked him about it. Is something wrong, Issei? I can sense something bad. Shuri widened her eyes as she heard what he said. Then suddenly an explosion was heard at the front door. Okasan, what's going on? Akino yelled over the loud banging noises. Shuri panicked while leading the 2 children into another room, where she thought they would all be safe. There you are, the trio gasped as they looked upon their assailants. 2 men clad in black uniforms covering their entire body, each with a pair of black feathered wings sprouting from their backs. Now that we've found you, it's time to die. I won't let you! Issei yelled as he jumped in front of Shuri and fired off a dragon shot at one of the fallen angels, completely destroying him, without a trace. However, in that attack, he used up a lot of his own energy to kill the fallen one. After the attack dissipated, he knelt on the ground in front of Shuri, breathing heavily, hoping to recover enough energy to fight off the second fallen angel. Hey, nice try, boy. All you've done is help me kill you all faster. As he said this, he kicked Issei, sending him towards the wall, which he hit with a sickening thud as a crack was resounded throughout the room. Issei screamed in pain as he fell to the floor. Both Akino and Shuri looking towards him in worry as the former called out, Issei! Akino tried to run towards him, only for a spear of light to pierce the ground in front of her, effectively stopping her in her tracks. Don't worry, little girl, you'll be joining him right after I kill your Kuoh-san. Hearing this, Issei and Akino went wide-eyed as Shuri began to fight back, only for the fallen angel to pierce her with a spear of light. The spear dispersed itself as Shuri fell to the ground, dying in a puddle of her own blood. Issei and Akino stared at Shuri with tears flowing down their eyes. All Akino could feel at the moment was sadness, as she sat there kneeling on the ground staring into her mother's lifeless eyes. Why are you crying, girl? You'll be the one to die next, he said with a mad cackle. Issei was feeling a completely different set of emotions, beginning with sadness and ending in pure rage. Growling lowly, he stood up, completely ignoring the pain that he felt coursing through his left arm from the impact against the wall. The fallen seemed to notice this and smirked. Oh, up for more are you, boy? I will kill you! In any normal situation, Issei's eyes would be a light blue color, representing serenity and calm. In this situation, however, they had changed into the eyes of a dragon, no iris, just a sclera and a sharp pupil in the dead center. The sclera themselves were royal blue, his eyes piercing the fallen angel's very soul. For what you have done to Shuri-san, and for what you would have done to Akino-chan, the price is death, he yelled at the top of his lungs. Balance break. Issei's body glowed, his very being radiating pure power. Suddenly the glow flashed brighter than before, blinding the fallen angel momentarily. When he opened his eyes, however, he saw a figure clad in a silver-white armor adorned with blue jewels. Vanishing dragon balance breaker. What is this? What's going on? This, partner, is Balance Breaker, the most powerful manifestation of the sacred gears. Divine Dividing reacted to your rage and released the ultimate form scale male. In this form, you don't have a time limit between divide usage on attacks. You have also gained 2 new abilities, though I recommend that you don't use them until your body can take massive amounts of energy. Tell me the moves afterwards, Albion-san. For now, just tell me how long I can last in this thing. You've only just activated Balance Breaker, so you have a minute time limit by default. This can be increased by more powerful emotions, or by training in this form. In a flash of white light, Issei charged at the fallen angel and crashed through the walls of the shrine, eventually breaking through the outer walls, ending up in the forest. As the two reached a clearing, Issei used his strong arm to punch the fallen sending him into a clearing in the forest. The fallen managed to stand up despite the pain he was feeling. Divide. This was short-lived, however, as he felt his strength leave him. Falling to one knee, he was panting slightly, as he struggled to produce a spear of light. After making a spear in both hands, he wasted no time in throwing them at Issei. Divide. Issei easily deflected both spears with his hand. How long until I reach my limit? You have 5 more uses of Divide before your reserves are filled to the brim. Issei nodded before adopting a serious look. Divide, 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 divide. The fallen angel was now lay on the floor, obviously not used to the amount of power being drained from him. He looked up at the armor-clad figure in fear. You killed Shuri-san, and you tried to kill Akino-chan. For that, you will die. As he said those final 5 words, he lifted his hand and faced his palm towards the fallen, and began to form a blue ball of energy in his hand. Goodbye, fallen, he said coldly before firing off the dragon shot, completely obliterating the fallen angel, and the many trees in his wake. After feeling the power leave his body, he dropped to one knee and struggled to catch his breath as his balance breaker dispersed. After resting for a minute, he spoke up. Albion, can you control the wings and take me back to the shrine? I don't think I'll be able to walk back, and Akino-chan might still be in danger. Sure thing, partner, just be careful. You were foolish and wasted a lot of energy killing the fallen angel. Issei mentally nodded. I've failed him. Albion was confused at this. Failed who? Barakil-san. I promised that I would protect Shuri-san and Akino-chan while he was gone. I've failed him, he spoke to Albion as the tears continued to fall down his face. He wouldn't blame you for what happened. You were not the one who killed her. By the time Issei returned to the shrine, it was in ruins. The main house was set alight, and the rest was a pile of rubble. He fell to his knees, fearing that the worst had happened to Akino. When he thought it was all over, he collapsed onto all fours, unintentionally ducking under a spear of light aimed for his head. TCH, so you're still alive, huh? Those incompetent fools can't do anything right. Issei turned to the voice to see a tall man wearing a long trench coat, with pairs of pitch-black feathered wings sprouting from his back. Well, if you want something done right, you've got to do it yourself. As he said this, he formed a large spear of light in his hand. Any last words, boy? Why did you kill them? Why are you attacking me? The fallen angel laughed loudly at the question. Because, boy, that woman was important to Barakil, and let's just say me and a few others don't like him very much. As for you, my master thinks that you could become a threat to us fallen angels. If you learn how to use that sacred gear, you might join the devil or the angels, then we would have a big problem on our hands. He readied his arms as he finished his lecture. Now it's time to die. He threw the spear faster than Issei could see. He made to dodge the spear by jumping to the left. However, he was too slow as the spear pierced his right shoulder. Aag! Issei cried out in pain as he fell to the floor, clutching the wound as the spear dispersed. Oh, so you survived that one, eh? Well, you won't live through the next one. He created a new light spear and threw it, aiming to pierce Issei's. Before it could reach him, however, the spear suddenly exploded. Get away from my son! An angry voice yelled. Both Issei and the fallen looked towards the voice to see Hitomi with her hands stretched outwards and Tatsuya flying towards the fallen quicker than anyone could comprehend. As he reached the man, he swiftly sent a punch to the fallen's face, sending him flying towards the rubble. Issei, are you alright? Hitomi asked as she ran towards her son with tears in her eyes, gasping as she noticed the wound in his shoulder and began to heal it. Turning around, she saw her husband exiting the shrine. He walked over to check on them. Is he all right? He asked with concern in his voice as he gazed upon his son's prone form. He'll be fine, I've already healed the wound. He just needs to rest for now. Any news on Shuri or Aquino? He shook his head, before adorning a sad expression on his face. Shuri, she's dead, with a gaping hole in her. As for Aquino, I can't find her anywhere. It's like she just disappeared. After hearing this, Hitomi was incredibly saddened by the death of her best friend, and the tears she had shed for her son's injuries increased tenfold at hearing the bad news. Take Issei home. I need a few moments to myself. Tatsuya kissed her on the forehead, then took Issei down the steps. After paying her respects to her best friend, she leaves the shrine and goes back to her house, planning on asking Issei about what happened. The next day, Issei woke up in his bed, rubbing his eyes as he attempted to sit up before he felt a sharp pain in his arm. He looked around his room curiously, until his eyes widened when he remembered the events of the previous night played in his mind, causing him to cry. A few minutes later, his parents walked in and comforted him. He calmed down after minutes before speaking. Ota-san. I wasn't strong enough. I promised Barakil-san that I would protect them. But I failed him, he said in between sobs. Hearing this, his parents shared a concerned look while frowning. His father thought for a moment before responding. I'm sure Barakil-san wouldn't blame for what happened to them. You were not the one who killed them. You shouldn't blame yourself. I know I shouldn't, but I can't help it. I feel responsible for their deaths. I want to become stronger. I don't want to lose another friend. Tatsuya looked towards his wife, giving her an almost pleading look. Knowing what her husband was asking, she considered saying no until she glanced towards Issei, who looked absolutely heartbroken at the thought of his best and only friend being dead. She sighed, then nodded towards Tatsuya. Issei, the boy in question, turned his attention towards his father. I have a couple of friends that owe me some favors. If you want, I can ask them to train you. Issei's expression brightened as he heard this. However, you will have to live near them if you want to train with them. Plus, there's no guarantee that they can give you the training you want. Issei nodded seriously. If I can get stronger, I don't mind, but I will come back to visit when I'm free, he said with a smile. All right, I'll take you to meet them. Hitomi stepped forward before speaking next. I don't mind you doing this, but you better keep up with your studies. I'll be testing you every month, and if you score less than % on any of them, you will return home immediately. Got it? Issei nodded quickly before his father coughed into his hand. All right, Issei, go get something to eat and get ready to meet your new sensei. Okay, Dad, was the last thing he said before running downstairs. Issei and Tatsuya emerged from the dragon portal in a mountainous area. The two observed their surroundings, Issei looking around in amazement and Tatsuya with a look of nostalgia. Deciding that they'd spent enough time standing around, Tatsuya began to walk off to one of the larger mountains, after calling for his son to follow. About minutes into their walk, they come across a large cave, which is supposedly their destination, if the look on Tatsuya's face was any indication. It's been a long time since I was last here. Tatsuya spoke with a bright smile on his face. After shaking out of his reverie, he turns to Issei. Well, let's go in. The two walk in the cave, the only noise being the echo of their footsteps hitting the stone floor. As they get further into the cave, a light can be seen and a deep voice heard, muttering something to someone else. When they reach what seems to be the doorway, they see two dragons, the first a 15-meter purple western dragon, and the second was a 10-meter tall red western dragon. The two dragons in the room turn when they hear footsteps, only to see Tatsuya and Issei, the former with a smirk, and the latter a look of awe and slight fear. After studying the two carefully, the purple dragon's eyes widen. He turns to the other dragon and dismisses it before speaking. Tatsuya, is that you? Long time no see, Tannen, he said with a small smile. Yes, it has been a while. How have you been, old friend? I've been well, my friend. I'm actually here for something important. He turned around and gestured for Issei to walk next to him. This is my son, Issei. Unfortunately, his best friend and her mother were killed by rogue fallen angels, and even though I tell him it's not his fault, he still believes that he is to blame for not being able to save them. He spoke sadly. Tannen looked at Issei and spoke. I'm sorry for your loss, young one. You have my condolences. Issei nodded his head in thanks. So what is this important business? he asked, already having a good idea of what it was. Issei looked towards his father, who nodded. He stepped forward and bowed deeply. Please train me. I want to get stronger. Tannen smirked after hearing his request. So you want my help? Issei nodded. If you want my training, you will have to work for it. I will not train someone with no potential to grow. If you want my help, you will have to show me your resolve. Seeing Issei's determined face, he smirked and grabbed the two. Then we shall fight. I will test your strength and see if you deserve my assistance. After saying this, the three flew upwards out of the cave and over to what looked like a battlefield. Tannen placed the two on the ground and flew about feet away. His eyes widened in shock when Issei activated Divine Dividing. Balance break, balance break. The voices of Issei and Albion sounded at the same time as a familiar white armor began to form around him. Vanishing Dragon Balance Breaker, Divide. Tannen stumbled slightly as he felt his strength leave him. Issei was in a similar situation, struggling to move with the amount of power received from Tannen, trying to think of a good way to expel the energy quickly. After thinking about it, he stuck his hands in front of him and began charging a ball of pure magical energy. Tannen saw this and created a ball of fire between his jaws. Albion, instead of sending the energy out of the wings, is it possible to send it into the magic bomb? You should be able to, though it will use up a lot of your stamina at your current level. Issei nodded before focusing the energy into his hands, causing the ball to grow even larger than it was before. After focusing the excess energy into the attack, he fired it as soon as Tannen shot his fireball. The two attacks collided, both fighters pouring power into the blasts, hoping to overpower the other. Divide. Issei faltered once again as he felt more energy enter his body, quickly sending it into his attack. Tannen realized that he couldn't waste any time as his power would be divided again, so he tried to end the fight by increasing the power of his blast. Issei noticed that he was being pushed back, so he fired a burst of energy into his attack to buy himself enough time to escape the blast radius. After moving out of the way, he charged at Tannen, aiming to strike his head. Noticing this, the large dragon tilted his head to dodge. Issei used too much force on his punch, so he stumbled slightly, rendering him unable to dodge the oncoming hand flying his way. As the giant claw connects, Issei was sent crashing down into the ground, leaving a huge dust cloud as he impacted with the ground. Inside the crater was a barely conscious Issei, with his balance breaker armor long gone, covered in multiple bruises and wounds, struggling to stand up and breathing heavily. Not yet. I can still fight, he spoke between gasps, wiping the blood from his lip. He attempted to reform his armor, but due to his lack of stamina, it dispersed quickly as he collapsed again. That is enough, Tannen called out as he and Tatsuya landed near the crater. Issei was in. You may rest now, child. You did exceptionally well for one so young. That blast would have hurt if I didn't counter it. Issei smiled at the praise he was given. You have the potential and resolve to become the strongest Hakuryoku to date. I will gladly train you. Issei smiled before finally passing out. Thank you, Tannen. You have my sincerest gratitude, Tatsuya said while he picked up his son. It's no problem, Tatsuya. I think I might enjoy training him. We will begin on the Monday of next week, so bring him back here on Sunday so he can get settled into his new home. Tatsuya nodded. Is it alright if he can take the weekends off, so we can see him then? Of course, thanks. Do you still have the special ring I used for my own training? Yes, it's still where you left it. I will give it to him before we officially start. Tatsuya nodded again. By the way, why not ask her to help train him? Maybe I could ask her. Not until Issei's older though. You know how Tiamat is, she'll see it as a waste of time unless he can put up a good fight. I suppose you're right. Do you plan on giving him the sword? When he's older, yes. Tatsuya felt Issei move slightly in his arms. I'll take him back home. He needs to rest for now so we can get all of his things packed. I shall see you in a few days then, Tatsuya. Oh, and could you keep the fact that he is Albion's descendant a secret? It doesn't matter who the host of the Red One is. They would jump at the chance to fight the person who is, for lack of a better term, Albion reincarnated. Tannen nodded in acceptance. Tatsuya thanked him before he opened a dragon portal and waved to Tannen as the dragon flew back to his cave. After reappearing in his home, the first thing he saw was his wife with a worried look on her face when she saw the state of Issei, and after treating his wounds and laying him in his bed, she returned to the living room to speak to her husband. What happened to him? She asked worriedly. Tannen wanted to test his resolve, so they sparred. I wouldn't worry too much. I doubt that he'll end up the same in the future. Hitomi nodded. His training will begin Monday morning, so I'll take him over the night before. Tannen is preparing a place for him to stay, but he'll be back on the weekends. Okay, we should probably start packing his things. Tatsuya nodded as the two left for Issei's room after grabbing his suitcase. The day finally came for Issei to move into dragon territory. He is currently stood next to the portal his father opened into Tannen's cave. After checking his belongings once again, he said goodbye to his mother and jumped through the portal with his father. The two were greeted by Tannen, who promptly guided the two to Issei's new home. After minutes of flying, they eventually landed next to one of the smaller mountains when Tannen began to explain, this is where you will be living from now on. On the morning of every weekday, you will wake up at o'clock, eat breakfast and get ready for the day of training. Issei nodded with a look of determination, but quickly turned into one of curiosity as Tatsuya reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box and gave it to Issei. Issei, in here is the ring I used to help me with my own training. Issei nodded and put the ring on his finger, immediately feeling the effects as his body felt much heavier than before. I call it the gravy band. It automatically adjusts your body to a weight slightly above what you can handle. You will need to wear this every day to help to gradually increase your speed and strength, without doing anything. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can also adjust the amount of weight the ring applies by continuously focusing your magic into the ring, and as soon as you stop, it will return to the original weight. Issei began channeling a little bit of his magic into the ring to test it, and promptly collapsed to the floor due to the pressure on his body. He stopped channeling his magic and stood up as his weight shifted again, allowing him to move more easily. Alright, the first part of your training is to unpack your belongings with the ring active. Issei nodded and started picking up some boxes on the floor. When you're done, I want you to stretch for 5 minutes and do laps of the town. Issei paled as he heard that'll be your workout for today, so when you're finished you can do whatever you want for the rest of the day. Your real training starts at M tomorrow, so be up bright and early. Hi, Issei replied as he began unpacking his items. Over the coming years, Issei would go about the same routine almost every day: wake up at, train with Tannen, eat, and then sleep. The first few weeks went by slowly, as all Tannen had Issei do was run to increase his stamina. However, after 2 months of running, they finally began what Issei referred to as the real training, increasing his strength and magic power. Time skip. Years later, a year-old Issei was lying on the grass, looking a little worse for wear as he had just finished his afternoon training with Tannen. As the years went by, Issei changed a lot. He was no longer small and scrawny but fairly tall with a toned figure, unexpected of someone his age. He was now able to maintain balance breaker for months, and weak in juggernaut drive. He lay back, happily chomping away at some dragon apples. His mind wandered as he thought about what Tannen had told him a few days ago. Flashback. You've improved greatly since our last spar, Issei. However, there is still room for improvement. You still rely a little too much on Albion's power. Next time try and fight me with only your own strength. Tannen said and spoke again after seeing Issei nod. By the way, 3 days from now you might be meeting someone important, so be prepared. Hi, Sensei. Flashback end. I wonder who Sensei wants me to meet. Issei mused to himself, but was cut off as he felt a familiar presence approach him, accompanied by 2 others. Although these were unfamiliar to him. Looks like Sensei's is here, he said, looking towards the purple dragon as he descended next to Issei. As Tannen landed, Issei noticed 2 others riding on his back. The first was a man with crimson-red hair and blue-green eyes, wearing some sort of armor and a smile on his face as he looked at Issei. The second was a silver-haired buxom woman with matching eyes. She was wearing a blue maid's outfit with an unreadable expression on her face. Issei's eyes widened as he felt their power. Whoa, they're stronger than Asen. Why do they want to meet me? So this is your student Tannen? The man asked, his eyes never leaving Issei. Yes, this is Issei Hayadu, the current Hakuryuka. Tannen replied as he smirked at Issei's confused expression. The man seemed to notice this as well as he moved to introduce himself to the boy. Ah, where are my manners? I am Sirzex Lucifer, one of the 4 Mao. And this is my wife Graphia. The now named Graphia pulled out a harisen and swiftly delivered a strike to the back of Sirzek's head as she spoke. My name is Graphia Lucifuge, head maid of the House of Gremory. I apologize for my master's joke. Nice to meet you both. My name is Issei Hayadu, Please take care of me from now on, he replied with a bow. Sensei, are they here to spar or something? Before Tannen could reply, Surzek's smile widened. That sounds like a wonderful idea. Grafia, why don't you test his strength? But don't go all out, Grafia sighed as she turned to Tannen. Do you mind, Tannen? The dragon laughed at the question. Not at all. It might help the boy if he fights someone other than myself, Tannen said. Then he turned to Issei. Well, brat, are you up for a fight? Issei grinned and nodded vigorously as he got into a fighting stance. When am I not? Issei replied before activating his balance breaker. Within seconds the snow-white armor was covering his body, although this time the armor was thicker than before, giving Issei more protection at the cost of some speed. Tannen and Surzek moved to the side before calling for the start of the fight. Begin. At the call, Issei charged towards Grafia with his foot cocked back while discreetly channeling fire into his left hand. As he reached Grafia, he threw his foot towards her left temple, which she easily dodged. However, she wasn't prepared for the fireball that was shot towards her stomach. The fireball connected and Grafia was blasted away from Issei. After regaining her balance, she began to form a large ice spear and fired it at Issei, whose response was to create a barrier to block the spear. The attack collided with the barrier and struggled in an attempt to overpower it. Of course, if Grafia was using her full power, Issei would be dead by now. The spear and barrier both exploded, causing a cloud of smoke to appear. Issei took advantage of this and shot towards Grafia, and sent a punch towards her abdomen too fast for her to dodge. As he connected, she flew back and landed on her feet. Divide. She stumbled as she felt the power leave her body before regaining her composure. She lifted her hands above her head, creating multiple ice spears in the air above her. Issei saw this and smirked, deciding to match her by creating the same amount of magic bullets and fired them at the same time as Grafia did, hoping to stall her until the next divide. The spears and bullets crashed against each other in a flurry of explosions. As the battle continued, Issei obviously had the upper hand as small beads of sweat rolled down Grafia's face as she was breathing heavily. Issei was doing a little better, although he was sweating slightly. Grafia realized that she couldn't win without using more of her power, so she did just that. She ceased in creating her smaller spears and formed a gargantuan spear above her head and threw it at Issei while freezing his feet in place. He realized that he could not win the fight, so he surrendered. After hearing this, Grafia dispersed the ice as Issei did the same to his armor, and fell backwards onto the soft grass. Well, Grafia, what did you think? Surzek said as he and Tannen flew over to the two fighters. He is incredibly strong for his age, Surzek-sama. I even had to use more power than I had originally intended to, she replied with a small smile. Issei rubbed the back of his head, embarrassed at the praise he was receiving from the strongest queen. Thanks, Grafia-san. But I know you were holding back a lot during our fight. Even so, you fought really well. I underestimated you and almost lost because of it, Issei nodded. Surzek-sama. It's almost time for your meeting. Surzek's eyes widened in realization. That's right. Well, anyway, it was nice meeting you, Issei. Goodbye, Surzek-sama, Grafia-san. It was an honor meeting you both, he bowed as the two left. Well, brat, I must say you put up a good fight against the strongest queen. Your training is really showing some good results. But that doesn't mean you can slack off. Issei nodded and left for his home after being dismissed. Thus concluded his encounter with the Ma Lucifer and the strongest queen, and as he lay in his bed, he had begun thinking about Aquino and his fight with the fallen angels. Time skip years later, after the fight with Grafia, Issei trained harder than before after his defeat, hoping to challenge her again when he could match her in strength. He was now 15 years old, and due to a spontaneous growth spurt, stands that he had also decided to grow his hair out to his shoulders. Issei and his parents were now stood in the living room of the Haide residence, now in Kyoto, preparing for their vacation. Issei had received a call from his parents inviting him to go with them to Rome, which he eagerly accepted. Luggage in hand, the trio left for the airport, unaware of the awaiting problems. Days had passed since the Haide family had arrived in Rome, and the trio had just finished lunch at a nearby restaurant. Issei had opted to separate from his parents, who were on their way to a museum, to do his own sightseeing in the other part of town. As he was exploring the city, he heard a commotion coming from a nearby alleyway. Deciding to investigate, he made his way to the noise and upon arrival, saw a group of at least 8 exorcists with light swords fighting a rogue exorcist who was wielding a holy sword. A powerful one if the aura surrounding the sword was any indication. It had a large silver sword blade, attached to a bronze hilt without a guard. From the moment he arrived, Issei knew that the group of exorcists stood no chance, further proven by the fact that the rogue exorcist killed half of them in one slash and followed up with another, killing 3 more. Just as he was about to kill the last exorcist, Issei rushed forward and caught the sword in his hands. Get out of here. I'll hold him off, he nodded before scrambling to his feet and running in the direction of the church. However, before he could reach the street, the rogue exorcist pulled out a gun and shot the man in his head, killing him instantly. The exorcist laughed maniacally before speaking. You've got some real guts picking a fight with the great Freed Selzen. I'm going to enjoy cutting you down with my Excalibur-chan. Issei released the grip on the sword after kicking Freed in the stomach. After regaining his balance, Freed charged at Issei with his sword ready to strike, to which Issei swiftly dodged, and Freed brought the sword back for another swipe, which Issei dodged again. Freed eventually stopped swinging. I must admit, you're good. Much better than those shitty priests. Aren't you supposed to be a priest? Issei questioned. Freed laughed at the question. I used to be, but they didn't like my bloodlust, so they kicked me out. I'm what most call a rogue priest, though I don't really care what I am as long as I can keep killing. If the church kicked you out, then why do you have one of their swords? Oh, this little thing? I stole it. This is Excalibur transparency. Why don't I show you what it can do? He said before disappearing along with the sword, much to the confusion of Issei. What's wrong? You can't see me? Well, that's the ability of my Excalibur, so good luck winning now. Freed rushed forwards at Issei and swung his sword, which would have decapitated Issei had he not dodged at the last second, instead suffering a blow to his left arm. You got lucky, boy, but next time I won't miss. This is bad. I can't see him at all. How am I supposed to beat him? Issei was panicking as he held onto his injured arm, dodging Freed's continued slices by millimeters. Do not fret, partner, just calm down and focus. That man is not a true holy sword wielder, so he is unable to tap into the true potential of the sword, Albion said. What do you mean, Albion? Issei asked, confused. Prepare yourself, I will point you in the direction of his attack, but it's up to you to counter it. Got it? Issei got into a fighting stance as Freed disappeared again. Left. As Albion shouted, Issei turned left and saw a brief flash of Freed directly in front of him, and threw his right fist towards his solar plexus. Freed grunted in pain as the attack connected, causing him to loosen his grip on the sword he was holding. Issei noticed this, so he kicked the sword out of his hand, and caught it as it fell from the sky. Freed growled as he felt the sword pressed against his neck. I won't kill you. It's up to the church to decide your punishment. Freed laughed maniacally, confusing Issei. You can take the sword, but you won't be taking me, Freed said as he pulled a button off of his coat and threw it to the floor. Issei covered his eyes as the button exploded, creating a bright flash. When the light died down, Freed was gone, prompting an annoyed grunt from Issei. Damn it, he got away. Oh well, at least I got the sword back. Issei stood still and examined the sword. I suppose I should find the church and return it. Issei was beginning to leave the alleyway when he was confronted by a party of 5 exorcists, 4 of which were pointing light swords at Issei, while the remaining exorcist stepped forward pointing a large sword, with an axe-like pommel at him. The sword itself seemed to radiate an aura of destruction. Stop where you are. You are being placed in the custody of the church for the theft of Excalibur. Issei could not get a good look at the exorcists because they were all wearing hoods, but he was able to tell from the feminine voice that the one confronting him was female. Whoa, hold on a second. I didn't steal the sword. I just got it back from a rogue priest and was about to bring it back to you. The exorcist's eyes narrowed after hearing this. How do I know you're not lying? For all we know, you could be saying that just to get out of your punishment. Issei sighed. If I was the real thief, why would I still be here? From what I've seen, this sword can turn the wielder invisible, so I could easily use it to escape. Not to mention I was walking in the direction of the church before you stopped me. The exorcists all lowered their swords after the woman nodded to them. Very well, I will believe you for now, but you will still need to follow us and report to the church. Issei was confused about this. Why can't I just give you the sword to take back? The exorcist smirked and decided to stretch the truth. We need you to give a detailed report on what happened and who really stole the sword if you weren't the real thief. Issei sighed again. Fine, I'll come, Issei, and the exorcists began walking, and Issei held Excalibur towards the exorcist. Do you want the sword? No thanks, you can hold on to it. Issei narrowed his eyes in suspicion at the devious smirk on the exorcist's face, but complied nonetheless. As they arrived at the church, 4 of the exorcists walked off in another direction, while Issei and the remaining exorcist entered the huge wooden doors. The 2 walked into what appeared to be a waiting room of sorts. Please wait here, I'll go get the head priest. The exorcist left after seeing Issei nod and sit on the bench. After 5 minutes of waiting, the doors opened, and in walked an old man with short gray hair obscured by a large white hat with a gold trim adorning his balding head. He was also wearing what seemed to be a regular priest outfit, albeit even more pompous than usual. Next to him was the same exorcist that had guided him here, although her hood was lowered, making her head visible. In the place of the once threatening exorcist stood a beautiful young girl, sporting a head of long, blue hair with a strand of green falling down the right side of her face. The priest was the first to speak. Now, before we begin, I suppose introductions are in order. My name is Tilion Kanata, High Priest of the Catholic Church here in Vatican City. He gestured to the girl behind him before introducing her. This is Zenobia Corda, one of our exorcists, and wielder of Excalibur Destruction. The newly named Zenobia just nodded. Issei Hayadu, nice to meet you. I was told you wanted to talk about the guy who stole Excalibur Transparency? Yes, could you tell us about what happened in full? Issei nodded and told them about the fight with the rogue exorcist. Zenobia was the first to speak again. Freed Selzene? The rogue priest who was excommunicated for killing his own comrades. To think he's come back. What shall we do? She asked, directing the question to Tilion. For now we need to consult the Archangel Michael-sama about this. But I think it'd be best if we scatter the Excalibur fragments throughout the various churches. Zenobia nodded. Tilion then turned to Issei. Thank you for recovering the sword for us. You have our gratitude. Issei nodded and held out the sword for the priest, whose response was to shake his head, much to the confusion of Issei. No, you may keep it. Do you know how to fight with a sword? Issei shook his head. I don't understand. This is one of your most important holy swords. Don't you need it? Tilion smiled. Of course we do. Which is why you'll return here tomorrow morning to begin your training with Griselda, our strongest exorcist. Issei's eyes narrowed. May I ask why? He asked, suspicion lacing his voice. Well, we can't have one of our exorcists run about with a sword and not know how to use it. What the hell are you talking about? Tilion smiled. Zenobia told me that you are able to wield Excalibur Transparency. You are a natural-born holy sword wielder, therefore you will become an exorcist. I'm afraid you are mistaken. I have no intention of becoming an exorcist. I'm sorry, Issei, but that just won't do. God has blessed you with a gift, the power to wield holy swords. He bestowed it upon you so that you could become an exorcist and destroy the demons in His name. As it stands, you have no choice in the matter. Either join the church, or you will die before you get the chance to leave. We simply cannot risk a holy sword wielder joining the enemy. At this point, Issei was gritting his teeth, practically seething with rage. After taking a few moments to calm down, he answered, As I said before, I have no intention of becoming an exorcist, so I think I'll choose option B. Tilion sighed before speaking. I had hoped that it would not come to this. He turned to leave for his office. Zenobia killed him and retrieved the sword. As he left the room, Zenobia removed her cloak, choosing to fight in the church's battle outfit, a black, skin-tight, one piece that accentuated every curve of her body. She raised the broadsword above her head. Ans spoke to Issei. It's not too late to change your mind, you know. If you join the church, I won't have to kill you. As if you could. I have no intention of joining the church, so stop trying. After he said this, Zenobia charged at Issei, her sword ready to strike. Before she could swing, however, she was intercepted by Issei's foot and crashed into the wall at the opposite end of the room. Here, take the stupid sword. I'm just going to leave. He threw the sword to Zenobia's feet and walked towards the exit, only to be intercepted by a large number of exorcists. Tch, damn it. Albion, any suggestions? Simple, just fly out. I know you're trying not to draw any attention to yourself, but this seems to be the only way to solve it without violence or risk of casualties. Other than that, you could try surrounding yourself in magic power and charge through them all. Sigh. Very well. The exorcists began to surround Issei, but a bright flash caused them to avert their eyes, and before they could react, they were bowled over by a figure donning a pair of white wings, surrounded by a golden aura. Well, it's been fun, but I really have to go. The exorcists all looked on in defeat as they watched the boy they were supposed to kill simply stroll out of the front doors like nothing happened. As the exorcists were recovering, Zenobia ran straight for the high priest's office. Tillian-sama, the boy escaped. At hearing this, the high priest shot out of his chair. He what? How did this happen? I seem to recall there being at least 40 other exorcists in the main hall. He was too strong. He knocked me down, and charged through the others like they were nothing. Tillian just rubbed his temples and thought, where is he now? Last I saw, he just walked out of the church. That wasn't very long ago. Send out our best exorcists at once. He cannot be allowed to live. If the devils or the fallen angels get him on their side, it could spell trouble for us. Shouldn't we inform Michael-sama? With the angels aiding the search, surely we can find and kill him easier. No, there is no need to bother Michael-sama with something as menial as this. Just do as I asked and inform me if you find him. Yes, Tillian-sama. Zenobia bowed and left to inform the other exorcists. What Zenobia didn't know was that Michael did not condone the act of killing people who refused to join the church. Meanwhile, Issei had just returned to his hotel room. Walking through the door, his parents greeted him with a smile, which quickly morphed into worried looks as they noticed the still bleeding wound along his left arm. His mother was the first to speak. What happened to you? Issei winced as he rubbed his ears in pain. Can you patch me up first? My arm is starting to hurt. After getting his arm bandaged, he told his parents about what happened, from the encounter with the rogue priest to the church attempting to kill him. Fortunately, he and his father were able to quell Hitomi's rage and stop her from potentially destroying the church and killing the people responsible. The remaining days spent in Rome weren't very eventful. Issei had chosen to remain inside for the majority of the time, due to the exorcists searching for him. Time skip month. A month after returning from Rome, Issei and his father stood in the middle of an ominous forest. Looking up, he could see the sky was a dark purple color, a crescent moon illuminating the landscape. The two were currently trekking through the cave, supposedly searching for a cave of some sort. Where are we, Oto-san? We are in the familiar forest. Devils come here to create a pact with familiars. We are here to see an old friend of mine. Now that you're stronger, hopefully she'll help train you. But I've already got Tannen-sensei to teach me. Why do I need another teacher? Believe it or not, she's even stronger than Tannen. She also has a sword of mine for safekeeping. Even if she doesn't say yes to helping you, we can get the sword. The two eventually reached a clearing in the trees and stood in front of a large cave. She's in here, Issei. You might want to get ready, just in case she wants to test your mettle. Issei nodded and began stretching as Tatsuya stepped forward. He whistles loudly into the cave. Hello? Anyone home? After he shouted, a pair of yellow eyes can be seen in the darkness. A grunt is heard as a large blue western dragon steps out of the shadows. It's been a long time since you were last here, Tatsuya. Indeed it has. Tiamat stood in an ominous forest. Issei, Tatsuya and a large, blue western dragon are stood at the front of a dark cave. While Issei stood confused, Tatsuya and the dragon seemed to be wearing nostalgic smiles. It's been a long time since you were last here, Tatsuya. Indeed it has, Tiamat. The dragon then glows brightly, her form shrinking and taking the shape of a human. As the light dies down, in the place of the once large dragon, stood a buxom woman, who looked to be in her mid-s with a large bust and midnight blue hair, reaching her knees. The only thing she was wearing was a blue one-piece dress, which did a good job of accentuating her curves. Her eyes noticed the tall figure stood next to Tatsuya and noticed the amount of power he possessed. While it was nowhere near her level, it was still very potent for someone so young. And who is this cutie? She said with a lascivious smile as she leered at Issei, who noticed this and blushed. Tatsuya smirked at his son's reaction. This is my son, Issei. Her eyes widened. If this is your son, then I think I know why you are here. Tatsuya nodded and Tiamat beckoned for the duo to follow her into the cave, and led them to what seemed to be a dead end. It's in here. She put her hand on an indented rock to the left of the wall and pushed down. The wall opened, revealing a large pond. A single ray of moonlight beaming down on the intricate blade, the shiny surface refracting the light onto the rest of the pond. Issei could feel the blade speak to him, calling for him to wield it. Heeding to the voice, Issei stepped forwards and reached out for the handle. As he got closer, he was able to get a better look at the sword, a silver hilt covered with red spots, a large, blue blade with a silver trim, and some strange golden symbols on both sides of the blade. An FFX Kalidbalg. I had originality tongue sticking out. Issei stepped up to the side of the pond and reached out towards the sword. After grabbing the hilt, his eyes widened in shock at the weight of the sword, or lack thereof. Even though it was a large blade jutting out of the small hilt, it felt like it had no weight. Issei, this is Kalidbalg. It was a gift to our ancestors from the Greek god of forges, Hephaestus. Created from the fang and scales of Albion, Tatsuya explained. He has been training with Tannen for the past years, but we both agree that he hasn't been making as much progress this year as he has previously. So we both think it would be a good idea if you could help train him. I would really appreciate it. Tiamat nodded and walked to Issei as he allowed Kalidbalg to float back to the pond. Issei-kun, we are going to test your skills with the sword. Hi, Issei replied. They then left the cave, into an open part of the forest. Tatsuya was stood a good distance away from the two, and Tiamat had summoned a long sword that was almost as big as Issei. Issei-kun, call for the sword, he nodded in response. Issei raised his right hand in the air and shouted as loud as he could, Kalidbalg. With the call, a bright glow surrounded his hand, and after it died down, Issei was holding Kalidbalg. It worked, he said in amazement. Well done, Issei-kun. Now then, let's begin. She then charged forward, her sword raised above her head. When she reached Issei, she swung the sword in a downwards motion, and Issei raised Kalidbalg to block, and as they clashed, Issei was pushed back. Tiamat continued applying pressure against Kalidbalg, slowly pushing Issei back. Issei, focus your power into Kalidbalg. Issei did as Albion instructed and was surprised when both swords glowed briefly. He was even more surprised when he was suddenly able to push Tiamat away. It's as I thought. Kalidbalg has a similar power to my own, dividing. While I divide power and give it to my host, the sword can divide the properties of other weapons and apply them to itself. Issei's eyes widened. So what properties did Tiamat-san's sword have? There's nothing special about it. It's a regular sword. Perhaps you divided the weight of the sword? While Issei was distracted by talking with Albion, Tiamat had already begun charging at Issei and was prepared for another strike. He didn't notice until Tiamat was right next to him, and by then he didn't have enough time to raise his sword to block the swipes, so instead he jumped to the right to dodge the oncoming blade. After recovering, he went on the offensive and flew towards Tiamat with the wings of Divine Dividing active, and sent a diagonal slash towards Tiamat's torso. Tiamat easily parried Issei's strike and struck him while he was unbalanced, knocking him to the ground. That's enough. You did well for your first real sword fight, but you lack form. Swinging wildly won't get you anywhere. I will teach you how to use a sword, and how to use Kalidbalg to its full potential. Thank you, Tiamat-san, he said with a bow as he dismissed Kalidbalg. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye, she said, waving as Issei and Tatsuya left the forest through a portal. Dragon Territory Underworld. The next day saw Issei stood in a field watching Tiamat, who was stood in front of a large boulder. Watch carefully, Issei. I will only show you this once. Issei nodded. Tiamat picked up one of the wooden bokkens and pointed it towards the boulder. The first part of your training will be to make a clean cut through a boulder. Like this, she shot forward and swung the sword, appearing on the other side as the two halves slide apart and collapse onto the floor. Use just the bokken, no magic, not even to make it stronger. When you have a clean cut, tell me and we will continue your training. Hi. Time skip month. Hayate Residence, Kyoto. It was currently midnight. Issei had been unable to sleep because of a nightmare. It was the anniversary of the death of Shuri and Akino, so he always had trouble sleeping at this time of year. Nightmares again, Issei? Hitomi asked worriedly. He just nodded in response. Issei, you need to let it go. It wasn't your fault that they died. You're wrong. I promised him that I would protect them, and I failed. Hitomi sighed. Issei. I'm sorry. Issei looked confused as his mother put her hands on his temples. Issei's eyes turned hollow and he collapsed to the floor. Albion, I sealed his memories of Akino, and of that night. Please don't tell him about it. It's for his own good. I understand, but if he starts asking questions about it, I won't keep anything from him. Hitomi just nodded and carried Issei to his bed. Time skip years. Issei was now years old, standing at. Instead of the normally brown hair, lay a disheveled mound of silver hair atop his head, due to an accident while he was attempting to create a subspecies balance breaker for divine dividing. Issei was sat in his favorite spot after training, in the field to the west of the training ground, relaxing under a tree next to a pile of dragon apples. As he was slowly drifting to sleep, he sensed multiple demonic energies coming his way. Only one was familiar to him. Mina-chan? Why is she coming here? The girl known as Minerva was Issei's girlfriend. She had approached him a few months ago and asked him on a date, which he accepted after being pushed by Tannen. Keep your guard up, partner, there's others with her. All are fairly strong. Issei mentally nodded. Are they stronger than I am? No, but don't get too confident. They could overpower you if they attack as a unit instead of one at a time. The energy signatures touched down near Issei, and began moving towards him at a much slower pace. Looking in the direction of the devils, he saw a man who looked to be in his mid-s with black, shoulder-length hair. Wearing a pair of black denim jeans and a red shirt covered by a black jacket. Hello, my name is Valerio Marcosius, next and last heir to the House of Marcosius. The people beside me are my peerage. He turned to his servants. Introduce yourselves. The first to speak was a short woman with a sizable bust and long teal blue hair reaching her waist. Her clothing consisted of a knee-length, dark dress that hugged her figure nicely. Zofia Hai, Valerio-sama's queen. Next to speak was a girl similar in size to Zofia, but with much smaller and bubblegum pink hair that reaches her shoulders, and wearing the same outfit as the queen. You already know me, but I'm Minerva Akil, Bishop. Two males, who looked to be twins, stepped forward, both wearing a knight's armor without the helmet. They had light blue eyes and blonde hair, and a sword attached to their belts. Abelard and Etteri Dillies, both knights. The final was a tall man with a muscular build, wearing a white martial arts uniform with a red bandana. I'm the Rook, Oz Ulrich. Issei relaxed his stance, but didn't lower his guard. Issei Hayadu, nice to meet you. If you don't mind me asking, why are you here? Straight to the point, eh? I like that, no need for pointless hows and whys. Well, to be blunt, I want you in my peerage. I have sensed your power and I want it. No thanks, he said while walking back to his spot, making Valerio grit his teeth. May I ask why not? I have no interest of becoming a servant. I really insist that you change your mind. If you don't, we will have to resort to more forceful methods, he said in a threatening tone. The knights both drew their swords and pointed them at Issei. The Rook cracked his knuckles and got in a fighting stance, while the Queen and Bishop both summoned fireballs in their hands. Mina-chan, why are you doing this? The Bishop sneered. We're dating, so why would you attack me? Oh please, did you really think I loved you? Valerio-sama had given me the task to get close to you, in the hopes that our relationship would compel you to join him. Issei growled and lowered his head so that his bang were covering his eyes. I can't believe it, you tricked me. Ha! As if anyone could love you. The only reason I accepted the mission was because my master promised to pleasure me. He raised his head and glared at the devils. I will say it again. I have no intention of becoming a servant. But if it's a fight you want, Issei summoned Calibalg. It's a fight you'll get. Hearing this, the Marcosius heir laughed. I'll give you one chance. Leave now, and you won't get hurt. You think you can defeat my peerage? Laughable, you look worn already, so there is no chance for you. If you won't become my servant of your own accord, then you will die and join by force. Abelard Etteri, just end him. Yes, master. The blonde knights rushed forward at extreme speeds. As soon as they reached Issei, they simultaneously swung their swords. Abelard aimed for his head while Etteri went for his abdomen. Issei just smirked and parried the blades with Calibalg faster than they could comprehend, unbalancing them and leaving them wide open for a follow-up strike. No one was able to follow Issei's movements, as he seemingly blinked out of existence, and reappeared to deliver a diagonal slash to both knights, causing them to collapse to the ground in pain. All of you, attack at once. Complying with their master's orders, Oz jumped in front of Issei and cocked his fist back. Meanwhile, Zofia and Minerva were flanking him, while Oz provided a distraction. The Rook faked a right hook and instead sent his left fist towards Issei's gut. At the same time, the magic users fired off their attacks. In response, Issei raised his leg to block the jab and created 2 reflective barriers and deflected the fireballs back to the attackers, knocking them out of the sky. Oz then attempted an uppercut with his free hand, but missed as Issei bent backwards and sent his foot straight into Oz's chin, causing him to stumble back, allowing Issei to follow up with a harsh kick to his gut, knocking him out cold. The bishop and queen had recovered and had began firing different elemental magic at Issei, which he easily blocked with defensive barriers. The knights were able to walk again and attempted to take advantage of his distracted state. Noticing this, Zofia and Minerva poured a lot more power into their next attacks, hoping to overpower him long enough for the knights to get a good hit on him. The knights and magic blasts were both rapidly closing in on Issei. However, as soon as they were about to hit, he jumped away at the last second, sending Abelard and Etteri head first into the attacks, leaving no trace of the twin swordsmen. Shocked by the death of their comrades, they failed to notice Issei approaching them from behind. By the time they noticed that they were in danger, Issei had already charged his attack and fired it as soon as they turned to face him. The 2 were sent crashing to the ground, leaving a large crater where they landed. The Marcoja's heir was seething with rage. One man had single-handedly defeated his entire peerage. "You will pay for this." He released his devil wings and charged at Issei. Seeing this, he did the same with divine dividing, and flew forwards with his right hand cocked back. When the 2 were within arm's reach of each other, Issei sent his left hand upwards, striking Valerio in the solar plexus, then blasted him with a huge fireball, sending the devil hurtling to the ground. Issei landed next to the crater and dismissed his sacred gear. "I gave you a chance to leave, but you didn't listen. Your knights are dead, and your remaining pieces are barely conscious. So take them, leave and never return." After his speech, Issei started walking off towards the trees. His now conscious peerage were pulling themselves from the ground as they watched their king explode with rage and create a large ball of darkness between his hands. "Die!" he screamed as he fired the attack at Issei, whose eyes widened at the size of the attack. Thinking quickly, he shot his magic bomb in an attempt to push Valerio's attack back. As both sides were increasing the pressure of the attacks, it became quickly obvious that there would be no victor in the battle, so Issei activated Divine Dividing. Divide. As the voice called out of the sacred gear, Oz collapsed again as he felt his power leave him. With the extra power, he sent a huge burst of magic power down the line, easily overpowering Valerio's attack, and sending them towards him. The remaining members of his peerage could only watch on in horror, as their king was completely obliterated, leaving no trace of the late Marcoja's heir. Issei activated his balance breaker, and flew towards Tannen's cave to speak to him about the fight. Stepping in the cave, he saw Tannen and Tiamat conversing. "Tannen-sensei, Tiamat-sensei, I want to return to the human world for a while." Both dragons were confused by this. "Why, did something happen?" Tiamat asked, concerned. "No matter where I am, trouble follows, so I want to try and live a normal life for as long as I can. Maybe go to a real school and make some friends my age." They both smiled at hearing this. "Very well, just remember you are always welcome here, and if you ever need anything, just ask." Tannen said. "Thank you both for all your help. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be as strong as I am now. Don't worry about your things, I will send them to your parents' house." "Hi, I'll leave tomorrow morning then." Tannen and Tiamat both waved as Issei left the cave. Although Issei didn't how it, he was hurting badly inside. Minerva's words had wounded him, and all Albion could do was offer word of comfort. Hayate Residence, Kyoto. The next morning, Issei appeared in the dining room where his parents were eating. Neither of them seemed surprised to see him. Tatsuya was the first to speak. "Don't worry about explaining, Tannen told us everything. I have already found a good school for you to go to. It's back in our hometown." Issei's eyes lightened when she said this. "Kuoh? I haven't been there in years, so I would love to go back there. But won't that be a problem? We're in Kyoto, which is quite a ways away from Kuoh, and we can't move cause of your jobs." His parents smiled. "You're right, we can't move, but you can." Hitomi said, confusing Issei. "What do you mean?" "We have found a nice little apartment in Kuoh. It's not too expensive, and we'll be sending you an allowance each month for food and other necessities." Issei smiled and hugged them both. "Thank you, Okasan and Otasan, they were all too eager to return the embrace. You'll start school next Monday. We'll send everything to your apartment, so don't worry about anything. I'm quite surprised actually. What made you decide this all of a sudden? Tatsuya asked. I expected you to do something like this much earlier on. So why do so now out of the blue? Issei sighed. I guess nothing gets past him. Yesterday, the last heir to the Marcosius clan tried to recruit me into his peerage. However, because I denied, he tried using force and ended up dead. I'm afraid that the last of the Marcosius clan will send out a warrant for my death. Issei's parents looked worried after hearing this. I suppose you're right. It's a lot safer up here than down in the underworld, Hitomi said before she could continue. Tatsuya interrupted. We can get the details some other time. For now, Issei, you should get ready for when you move to Kuoh. Issei nodded and began packing. You do know that Kuoh had been claimed by the devils, right? It doesn't matter, that should only apply to those in the 3 factions. I honestly don't see why they feel like they have the right to claim our cities. He should have no problem. The devils won't get very far if they try anything. She nodded. In the next few days, Issei had moved to Kuoh and had settled into his new apartment. In one more day, Issei would begin his first day of school at Kuoh Academy. However, no matter what power he might possess, nothing could prepare him for his first day of high school. Issei's apartment. Kuoh. Beep 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 crash. Why did I have to buy the most irritating alarm they had? After tossing out the remains of his now broken alarm clock, Issei went to the bathroom to get ready for his first day of school. After a quick shower, Issei emerged in the male variant Kuoh Academy uniform consisting of a black blazer with white accents over a white, long-sleeved button-down shirt with vertical linings, a black ribbon on the collar, matching black pants, and brown dress shoes. His hair was still a disheveled mess, but it wasn't as bad as when he first woke up. Ready for his first ever day of school, he went into his kitchen to prepare his breakfast and lunch. Time skip. After a rather large breakfast, Issei was on his way to Kuoh Academy. Along the way he was able to see many others sporting the same uniform as him, though some were wearing the female version consisting of a white long-sleeved, button-down shirt with vertical linings, a black ribbon on the collar, a black shoulder cape and matching button-down corset, and a magenta skirt with white accents. As they saw Issei enter through the front gates, the students all broke into a fit of whispers, but Issei's enhanced hearing allowed him to hear what was being said. Suffice to say the reactions were mixed. The girls were mostly saying, "Who's that guy? A new student maybe? Kaya, he's so cute. Do you think he has a girlfriend?" The boys, however, "Who the hell is that? Another damn Bishan in here to steal all of the girls. Die pretty boy." Issei's sweat dropped at hearing some of the threats. Damn. Are all schools like this? He breathed a sigh and began walking to his classroom. Hey Albion. Do you feel that? If you mean the devils in this school, then yes. Looks like Ka-san was right. The devils have claimed the city. I doubt they'll try anything. They all seem pretty weak, especially compared to the Marcosius boy, and you beat him even after a day of training with Tiamat. Yeah, but still, I'd rather avoid conflict for now. Issei sighed. They're watching me, aren't they? Afraid so, partner. I thought you put a seal on me to hide my power? Yes, I did. But you still leak draconic energy. They can probably sense it. Damn. Oh well, for now I'll just act oblivious to the supernatural. And if they do decide to provoke you, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Very well. During his conversation with Albion, Issei had already arrived at the door to his classroom. He shook his head to clear his thoughts and knocked on the door. After a few seconds it was opened by a man clad in a gray suit. He looked at Issei confused until he widened his eyes in realization and gestured for Issei. Hi there, I'm Issei Haidu. This is my first time in a school, so please take care of me. He finished with a bow and a smile. After he introduced himself, the girls whispered amongst themselves and the boys were glaring at Issei, muttering something about Bishonens. The class were quickly calmed by the teacher before he spoke. Does anyone have any questions for Haida-san? The girls all raised their hands simultaneously. Issei pointed to a girl in the front with short pink hair. Haida-san, do you have a girlfriend? Issei's sweat dropped. Of all the questions, why did she ask that one? No, I don't. This caused the girls to scream in excitement. Next to speak was a balding jock, who practically screamed at Issei. Name's Matsuda, why are you here, damn pretty boy? Issei tilted his head in confusion. I'm here to learn, why else would I be here? Before he could say anything else, the teacher glared at him. Matsuda, that's enough. Hayata-san, why don't you sit at the back? Hi, sensei. The school day went on, and the students in his class were surprised at how smart Issei was, considering he had never been to a school in his life. After the first lesson ended, he was bombarded with questions by the girls ranging from vague to personal to extremely inappropriate. So when lunch began, he was all too happy to escape from the classroom. He was currently resting against a tree, his lunch in hand. I never thought school would be like this. You remember what I told you about the dragon trait, right? Yeah, I'll attract girls and strong opponents. Exactly, the girls are attracted to your power, even if they can't feel it. That coupled with the fact that you're better looking than most other guys. Wow, Albion. I had no idea you felt that way about me. You know what I mean. Yeah, I'm just messing with you. Issei felt something strange. Albion? I sense it too. Looks like the devils are watching you. Issei turned slightly to the right and saw a young woman staring at him through the window oven with light skin, blue-green eyes and a buxom figure. Her most distinctive feature is her long, crimson-red hair that reaches down to her thighs, with a single hair strand sticking out from the top. Her hair also has loose bangs covering her forehead and side bangs framing her face. Like most girls in Kuoh Academy, she was wearing the girls' school uniform. That girl, she looks just like Sir's ex. Issei watched as the girl walked away from the window, but just shrugged it off and continued eating his lunch. Old school building. Akino, who was that boy? The red-haired woman asked as she sat on the sofa. Sitting on the opposite side was a young woman with a buxom figure around the same age as Rias, with very long black hair and violet eyes. Her hair is usually tied in a long ponytail, reaching all the way down to her legs with two strands sticking out from the top and sloping backwards, with an orange ribbon keeping it in place, wearing the same clothes as the redhead. You mean the new guy? He's Issei Hayata, Class B if I recall correctly. Why do you ask? Rias Bucho? I have a strange feeling about him. Rias moved a piece on the chessboard. Checkmate. I tried to make it hard for you, thanks for that. I'm going to go take a shower. When you get the chance, can you see if Sona can give me any information on him? Akino nodded as Rias left. When her Bucho was gone, she began to think about her childhood friend. Issei-kun. It can't be him, they look nothing alike. It's probably best if I move on. He's dead anyway. A straight tear fell down her face. Outside Kuoh Academy, Issei was walking home across the bridge when he was stopped by a shy voice. Excuse me. Turning around, he saw a girl with long black hair down to her hips and violet eyes, wearing a school uniform, which consisted of a dark red jacket with the letter P embroidered in gold, a white undershirt, a red bow, and a green skirt with a thin white strip around the lower end of it. Are you Hayata Issei? A fallen angel, what could she want? I'm not sure, but I don't think it's good. Just play it by the ear for now. Issei mentally nodded. Yes, that's me. I'm sorry, but do I know you? The girl blushed heavily. I don't think so. I've seen you walk by a few times and I think you're really handsome and... I was wondering if you'd like to go out sometime? Issei was dumbstruck. Huh, why you see, I want you to be my boyfriend. Issei was stunned. A beautiful girl just asked him on a date out of the blue. Then again, she is a fallen angel, so maybe she has an ulterior motive. I'll just play along for now. Sure, how about we go out on the weekend? Okay, see you then, she said as she turned to leave. Wait, I don't even know your name. Oh, it's Amano Yuma. Goodbye, boyfriend. Issei waved as she left before walking the other way. As he left the bridge, he noticed a petite girl around years of age with white hair and hazel eyes. Her front hair has two long bangs going past her shoulders and several loose bangs hanging over her forehead, while the back has a short bob cut. She also wears a black cat-shaped hair clip on both sides of her hair. Wearing the Kuoh Academy uniform without the shoulder cape. So the devils are watching me, this is gonna be good, he thought while smirking. What are you thinking, partner? I'm just gonna have a little fun with the devils. What are the chances that the fallen angel really wants to go out with me? A very low chance. May as well have some fun with her then, huh? Just make sure you're careful, partner. Issei nodded and made his way home. Occult Research Club. So the fallen angel has a date with Hayata this Sunday. Give him a flyer, the rest lies with him. Rias said. Good work, Kaneko. Kaneko nodded and resumed eating her sweets. Time skip Sunday. Issei was stood outside the shopping center, waiting for Yuma to turn up. Issei sighed and looked at his watch. Geez, she sure is taking a while. He was interrupted from his musing when a girl in a cosplay outfit walked up to Issei. Demonic energy. A familiar maybe? She handed Issei a flyer, winked and walked off. Your wish will be granted. Issei blinked twice before smirking. So that's their plan, eh? Give me a summoning circle and let the fallen kill me? What'll you do, partner? It's a surprise. While he was talking to Albion, he was barely able to notice Yuma walk beside him. Her eyes narrowed when she saw the flyer in his hands. So the devils are watching him too. I must destroy that flyer. Hey Yuma-chan. Her scowl quickly turned into a smile, albeit a fake one. Hey Issei-kun, have you been waiting long? Nah, I've only been here for 5 minutes. He took one last look at the flyer before turning back to Yuma. Shall we go then? Yuma nodded, but before they left she asked a question. Hey Issei-kun, what was that piece of paper you were holding? Issei smiled and pulled the flyer out of his pocket. Oh, this? It's an advertisement. I think. Although I don't think I've ever seen this symbol around here before. Yuma was panicking. This could be bad. If he uses that flyer, he won't be a potential threat, he'll be a real threat. What are you going to do with it? Issei turned to her with a curious look. I think I'll just trash it. Yuma breathed a sigh of relief. You alright there? You look relieved or something. And no, I'm fine, Issei-kun. Issei smirked, which went unnoticed by Yuma. It seems we were right, Albion. She wants me dead for some reason. Well, let's go, she said before pulling Issei along. But before they went anywhere, however, Issei crumpled up the flyer and threw it away. Occult Research Club. Rias visibly tensed and clutched her. This didn't go unnoticed by the rest of her peerage. Butcho at the call, Rias turned to her. Queen, is everything alright? She shook her head in response. The flyer was destroyed. The other people in the room widened their eyes. What do we do now? Aquino asked. Rias bit her thumbnail and looked into space. I won't let him die. I'll have to follow them for now. She turned to Aquino. Can you take care of things here? Yes, Butcho. Rias then left to follow Issei and Yuma. Kuoh Park. Issei and Yuma were nearing the end of their date. It was currently sunset, and the two were making their way to the fountain. At least this snorefest is finally over. Oh well, at least I can kill him now. Yuma ran in front of Issei. Well, here it comes. If she's gonna kill me, now's her best chance. He narrowed his eyes as he felt a familiar demonic presence nearby. So she followed us, eh? Well, it's time to put the plan into action. I really enjoyed our time together, Issei-kun, she said, walking slowly in Issei's direction. Me too, Yuma-chan. To commemorate this special occasion, can you do something for me? Here it comes. Sure thing. She walked right up to him and leaned in close to whisper in his ear. Will you die for me? Phase commence, Issei thought to himself. He put on a shocked expression and backed away slowly. What did you say? I said, will you die for me? As she repeated the statement, a pair of black wings sprouted from her back. It's been fun, toying with your naive little mind. The date was so boring, it only makes this moment all the more pleasing. As she began creating a spear of light, Issei was searching for the devil's energy signature. Typical, not even moving an inch. She plans to sit there and watch me die. No matter, on to phase. Issei then sprinted into the forest before Yuma could throw the spear. However, she quickly gave chase. Rias POV. I watched as Issei ran straight into the forest, with the fallen angel right behind him. I quickly decided to give chase, or else I might not make it in time. By the time I had arrived, Issei was on the floor in a pile of his own blood with a large hole in his gut. There was no sign of the fallen angel anywhere save for a few feathers, but they probably fell off of her wings when she left. It looks like you're dying. Your wound, how interesting. Issei's eyes closed and his hand fell to the side of his body. Lifeless, live for me from now on. I summoned my pawn pieces and placed one above his, but there was no reaction. I placed another, but still nothing. So I placed more on until something happened. The pieces reacted. He's worth pawns. I order, in my name Rias Gremory. You, Issei Hayadu. I resurrect you back to this soil as my servant. And how before I could finish the chant, something unexpected happened. His body was disappearing. In just a few seconds his body was gone. Issei Hayadu was dead for good, and it was my fault. After collecting my pawn pieces off of the floor, I created a magic circle and went back to the clubroom. Bucho, how's the new pawn? Aquino asked. I dismissed Yuto and Kaneko before speaking, tears threatening the corners of my eyes as I took the seat next to my best friend. He's dead, his body is gone, it's like his body dissolved. It's my fault. If I had taken action sooner, he would be alive still. I couldn't hold the tears back any longer. Aquino just rubbed my back and hugged me. You had no idea that would happen. Just get some rest, Rias. I'll inform Sona that he has died and she'll take care of the rest. I just nodded and left the room to sleep. I really need Kuoh Park, I said. Will you die for me? As she repeated the statement, a pair of black wings sprouted from her back. It's been fun, toying with your naive little mind. The date was so boring it only makes this moment all the more pleasing. As she began creating a spear of light, Issei was searching for the devil's energy signature. Typical, not even moving an inch. She plans to sit there and watch me die. No matter, on to phase. Before Yuma could throw the spear, Issei sprinted into the forest, hoping that she would follow him. After putting some distance between them, he created a clone of himself using illusion magic, and sent it away while he hid behind a tree. He noticed Yuma fly past him and land in front of the clone, and watched as she sent the spear through his stomach. Sorry. You were a threat to us, so we decided to get rid of you early. If you want to hold a grudge, then hate the god who put the sacred gear inside you. The clone fell to the ground when the spear dispersed. Issei watched as she flew off, the devils moving. Looking back, he saw the same red-haired girl approach the clone with a smirk on her face. It looks like you're dying. Your wound, how interesting. The clone dropped its arms to the side. Live for me from now on, humph. Not likely. Issei snapped his fingers to cancel the spell. I order, in my name Rias Gremory. You, Issei Hayadu. I resurrect you back to this soil as my servant, and Issei watched, a huge smile on his face as the devil adopted a look of horror as the clone began to disintegrate. Issei's smile turned to confusion as he saw the look on the she-devil's face. Remorse. Strange. Issei just shrugged it off and went home. As he walked through the front door, his phone began to buzz. Looking at the phone, he was surprised at the caller ID. Ka-san? He flipped the phone open and answered the call. Oka-san, is something wrong? We just received a phone call saying you died in a car crash. So you want to tell us what really happened? Oh sure. A fallen angel tried to kill me because of my sacred gear, and a devil was going to use her as a way of recruiting me. I just made a little illusion to fool them both. I'm pretty sure it worked because the fallen gutted the clone and flew off, and the devil tried resurrecting it, and believe me, the look on her face was priceless. His mother laughed before adopting a serious tone. I can't see Azazel ordering your death like that. From what I've heard, he's addicted to his sacred gear research, so killing a possessor wouldn't benefit him at all. Well, whatever the reason, they think I'm dead now, so it doesn't matter. If you don't mind me asking, Issei, why didn't you kill the fallen angel? You and I both know you could easily eliminate them. She asked curiously. I wanted to draw the devil out. I had a feeling that they would try something, so I feigned ignorance to the supernatural world, and it worked. Alright, so how was your first week of school? The night went on as Issei told his mother about the week's events. After the conversation was over, Issei went straight to bed to prepare for the next day. A security professional finds himself in the body of one of the anime characters he has known for long. Watch Andrew Slane now. Issei Hayadu navigate the dangerous world. Kuoh Academy the next morning. Is that Hayadu? I thought he died. The prince isn't dead. Issei faked a look of confusion as he walked through the halls to his classroom. So the devils made it up to cover for what really happened. As he opened the door to Class B, he saw the entire class with their heads down, and a vase filled with roses on his desk. However, no one seemed to notice his entrance to the classroom, so he just removed the vase and sat at his desk. The untimely death of Issei Hayadu came as a great shock to us all. Despite being here for just a week, he felt like one of our own. He will be dearly missed by all that knew him. Issei smirked as he sat back in his seat, with his feet propped up on his desk. I'm glad you think so highly of me. Everyone who heard this shot up in shock and looked towards Issei looking like they've seen a ghost. Hayadu-san, we were told you were killed in a car crash once again. He feigned confusion. I've been in Kyoto with my parents all weekend, sensei. Alright. I'll go inform the student council about this. Issei nodded as the teacher left. The students crowded around him and began asking questions about how he supposedly died. After a few moments of asking questions, a figure burst through the door and looked as though she was searching for something. After finding the one she was looking for, she ran straight for Issei and grabbed his hand. Come with me. Turning to the voice, he saw Arias Gremery stood with a stern expression on her face. What? Why? Instead of answering, she began dragging Issei along through the schoolyard and into the old school building. When they arrived there, Issei saw 3 people, 2 he had already seen before, but one was unfamiliar to him. A boy with short, blonde hair, and gray eyes with a mole under the left, wearing the same uniform as Issei except he was wearing the black blazer. Rias gestured for Issei to sit on the sofa as she and her peerage sat opposite him. Hiya to Issei, how are you alive? Well, I breathe air into my lungs, which helps the heart pump blood. Don't play coy with me. She yelled. I saw you die last night, so how are you here? I know, you stood idly by as the fallen angel tried to kill me. Rias' eyes widened. We are in precariously thin peace with the fallen angels. If I had attacked, then it could have jeopardized that little peace we have. I suppose she has a point. I'm sure either of the 3 factions wants another war. Fair enough, I suppose. Now care to tell me how you are alive when I saw you die? Instead of explaining, he created a clone of Rias sitting on the desk chair, surprising the devils. That's how. It's called illusion magic. As the name suggests, I can create illusions to fool people. Issei dispersed the clone. Is that all? Not quite. She stood up and walked to the desk, picking up a pawn piece and rolling it between her fingers. Are you aware of the evil pieces? Issei nodded. She then looked to her peerage. Let's introduce ourselves anew. Yuto. Kiba smiles at me after Rias calls his name. My name is Kiba Yuto. As you already know, I'm a second year like you. Hiya to Issei-kun. I'm Bucho's knight. Nice to meet you. First year. Tuja Kaneko. Bucho's rook. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Kaneko bows her head. My name is Himejima Akino, and I'm in 3rd year. I'm also the vice president of this occult research club and Bucho's queen. Nice to meet you. Ufufa. Akino bows her head very politely. Issei feels a twinge of pain when he looked at Akino, who barely noticed it. Last to introduce herself was Rias. She waves her crimson hair and says it very directly. And I'm their king, as well as being a devil from the house of Gremery, Rias Gremery. My house holds the rank of a duke. I know we got off on a bad start, but let's get along from now on. Issei Hayadu, 2nd year, nice to meet you all. Now Issei-kun, I have a question for you. I have a feeling I know where this is going. Shoot. Would you like to join my peerage? She asked with a confident smile on her face. I knew it. No thanks. Rias' expression took a complete what? Why not? Other than the fact that you were willing to let me die. I don't like the idea of being a servant. The Gremery family are well known for treating their servants like family. That may be so, but I would still be labeled as a servant. Rias sighed sadly. Very well, will you at least join the Occult Research Club? I suppose I can, but may I ask why? The Occult Research Club is just a front. It serves as a gathering place for us devils. If there's an emergency, we can use the club as an excuse to sort it out. And even though you aren't in my peerage, I would like for us to be allies. Issei nodded and began walking to the door. Do you think you could come back after school? Yes, sure, he said as he left the room. Rias sighed. It's a shame. I thought I would get a new piece. He did have a point. Bucho, you were willing to let the fallen angel kill him. I know. I guess we'll have to earn his trust. School had ended and Issei was currently stood outside the old school building across from Kiba. The two were preparing for a spar per Rias' request, as she was wondering how powerful Issei was. Sorry, Albion, but I'm not gonna use you yet. It's fine, partner, just be careful. You may be fast, but that boy's a knight. I know. Don't forget I was able to take down the 2 Marcosias, knights, easily. Akino set up a barrier as Kiba drew his sword. Issei put his hand in the air, confusing the others. Calibald with the call, the sword appeared and was promptly pointed in Kiba's direction. Ready when you are, Issei said with a smirk. Rias stepped forward to start the fight. Begin! As soon as the match started, Kiba charged straight at Issei and swung his sword at his open arm, but was surprised when Issei easily blocked it. Kiba backed away before running again, but this time he aimed for Issei's back. The devils were surprised yet again as Issei turned to block. However, instead of blocking, he parried the strike to knock Kiba off balance before moving even faster than the knight could, and struck Kiba on the back of the head with the pommel of the sword. Issei dispersed his sword as Kiba fell to the ground unconscious. Fortunately, Issei caught him before he hit the floor and carried him to the others, breaking them out of their musing with a whistle. Rias spoke shocked as Akino tended to Kiba. Issei-kun, how strong are you? He just smirked. Wasn't that what the spar was for? Yes, but I didn't expect it to be over so quickly. She looked towards her. Rook, Kaneko-chan, are you up for a spar? The girl in question nodded and walked to the area where the two boys were fighting. Issei-kun, can you fight Kaneko-chan next? Issei sighed. Fine, but don't blame me if she gets hurt too badly. Rias giggled. You don't have to worry about that, she's a rook, meaning she can't get hurt easily. Issei walked back to the battlefield and stood across from Kaneko. I think I'll finish this quickly. Begin. As soon as those words were spoken, Issei charged forward and skidded into a crouched position next to Kaneko. Before she could even process what had just happened, she was sent flying into the air due to a harsh uppercut from Issei, who then activated Divine Dividing, and flew above Kaneko before flipping in the air and delivering an axe kick, sending her crashing to the ground. Issei landed and deactivated his sacred gear atop the crater that had formed from the impact of Kaneko's body, waiting for the dust to leave. Rias, Akino and the now conscious Kiba all watched with the same surprised expression they wore when Kiba was knocked out. When the air around the crater was cleared of dust, the devils all saw an injured Kaneko limping out of the crater, her clothes destroyed from the fight. She winced as she put too much weight on her injured left leg, and almost fell if not for Issei offering her his shoulder to lean on. When the two got to the rest of the peerage, Kaneko left Issei's side to be healed by Akino. Is that all? I'm quite hungry. Rias shook her head and Issei was about to leave but stopped when he saw Kiba walking towards him. Hey Issei, can I try out that sword of yours? Issei smirked. What do you say, Albion? Do it, it'll be funny to see their faces. Issei nodded and summoned Kalidbalg, pointing the hilt in Kiba's direction. When Blonde grabbed the handle, Issei removed his grip and the sword instantly fell to the floor. He put both hands on the hilt and tried pulling it upwards. What is this thing made of? It's so heavy, I can't even lift it off of the ground. Issei put his hand on his chin. Dragon parts. Is that why it's so heavy? Issei rose an eyebrow in mock confusion and lifted the sword up with one hand. To add insult to injury, he balanced the sword on one finger, much to the surprise of Kiba. Issei planted the sword in the ground when Kaneko stepped up, but no matter how hard she tried, it wouldn't move an inch. Issei snapped his fingers. Oh right, I should probably tell you that this sword can only be wielded by my kin. If anyone else tries, well, you've seen the result. Kiba and Kaneko glared at Issei as he was finding it hard to contain his laughter at the sight of a girl only a head taller than the sword, trying as hard as she can to pull it out of the ground. If that's the case, then who are your ancestors? Issei looked to Rias when she asked the question. I can't say. If that's all, I'll be going now. Kuoh Park. Instead of cooking for himself, Issei had decided to eat out before going home. He had decided to take a shortcut through the park where Yuma Amano tried to kill him. As he was walking home, he could feel someone watching him. Turning around, he saw a man in a suit glaring at him, releasing a lot of killing intent. The man began to walk closer to him, but Issei shrugged it off and carried on walking home. Before he got far, the same man stepped out from the trees and blocked his path. This is rare. To meet someone like you in a place like this. The man was sporting a sadistic grin, but his eyes widened when he saw the boy in front of him. Rainier will have some explaining to do when I get back. She was supposed to kill you, yet you are alive, so I can only assume that you have been turned into a devil. Afraid not, fallen angel. She just failed to kill the real me. It doesn't matter what you are, you will die here. He released his wings and flew into the air, creating a blue light spear between his hands. My name is Donasik, and you will die by my hand. With that declaration, he threw the spear at Issei, who stood still with a smirk on his face. Just as the spear was about to hit him, he dodged to the side and grabbed the spear. Then, faster than Donasik could see, Issei ran behind him and drove the spear through the fallen angel's gut. Not nice, is it? being on the receiving end? The fallen angel grunted in pain, as he dispersed the spear and jumped away from Issei. Damn brat, I'm not gonna die here. I'll be back. But next time I'll be bringing a few friends. He flapped his wings to leave, but he was stopped when Issei appeared behind him and gripped his wings tightly. I'm letting you live this time, but try it again and you won't be so lucky. Donasek flew off as soon as his wings were released. Issei yawned and turned around to wave at Rias, who had arrived just as Issei had stabbed the fallen angel. Instead of speaking to her, Issei left through a portal to his house and went straight to bed. He fell asleep as soon as his head hit the pillow, missing the red magic circle that appeared in his room. It was early in the morning. Light was bleeding in through a gap in the curtains. Rias' memory was beginning to stir as the light struck her eyelids. After yawning and rubbing her eyes, she became quickly aware of the fact that she was unable to move due to the death hug of the boy that was sound asleep next to her. A deep crimson blush formed on her face as she felt the firm grip he had on her rear. She was even more surprised when she saw that she was hugging his head into her, but instead of letting go she just pulled him in tighter. After feeling the shift in his bed, Issei started to wake up. Strange. I don't remember my bed being so soft. He could hear Albion chuckling in his head, but just shrugged it off. When he opened his eyes he was greeted by a pair of large and fell off of the bed after jumping back in shock. Looking up from the floor, he saw Rias Gremory staring at him with a smirk on her face. What are you doing in my apartment? Well, I came here to talk with you about that fallen angel that attacked you last night. But by the time I arrived you were already asleep, so I decided to sleep with you, she said calmly, smirking at the growing blush on Issei's face. We can talk about it when you get dressed. Showers at the end of the hall. I'm going to go make breakfast. Rias nodded, blushing at the sight of Issei's bear, and looking almost disappointed when he left the room. After shaking her head to clear her thoughts, she collected her clothes and left for the shower. Rias had finished her shower, and as soon as she left the bathroom, her nose was blessed with the sweet aroma of a variety of foods, the most noticeable smells being bacon and eggs. She made her way to the kitchen area, practically drooling as she walked through the hallway. When she arrived at the kitchen, she could see Issei and 2 plates, one with a lot more food than the other. Are you sure you can eat all that? She asked as he placed the plates on the dining table. Issei just looked at her with a raised eyebrow. If I couldn't, do you think I would make all this food? I suppose not, Issei smirked. Besides, this is actually quite small compared to most other times. Rias' eyes widened. Itadakimasu, they both called out in unison as they started digging into the food. So what did you want to talk about, Rias? She looked up from her plate as she answered. That fallen angel. You could have killed him easily, yet you let him live. Why? I wanted to send them a message. If they're smart, then they won't attack me again. If they do, then I won't be so merciful next time. Rias just nodded and continued eating. The two finished eating and were on their way to school when a voice broke them out of their conversation. Why you? When they turned around, they saw Sister Hu on the floor. She is spreading her arms wide open and has her face on the ground. Rias narrowed her eyes when she saw the girl on the floor. Are you okay? Issei asked as he approached the sister, holding out his hands so she can stand up. You. Why do I keep on tripping over? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Judging from her voice and looks, she must be quite young. Issei took her hand and lifted her up, but as she got to her feet, the sister's veil flies off because of the wind. Her blonde hair, which was hidden underneath, falls down onto her shoulders. Her straight blonde hair is sparkling with light because of the sunshine. A security professional finds himself in the body of one of the anime characters he has known for long. Watch Andrew Slane now. Issei hired to navigate the dangerous world. Then his eyes moved towards her face. His heart was instantly gripped by something strange. Albion, what is this feeling? This girl has a high affinity with dragons. You're feeling the urge to protect her. You're probably feeling it a lot more because you're a dragon with a dragon-type sacred gear. For a while, I was gazing at her. Is something wrong? The sister looks directly into my face with a worried expression. Oh, sorry, nothing's wrong. I was just thinking. Issei then noticed the traveling bag she was carrying on her shoulder. It's a rare occasion to see a nun in a town. Are you traveling? No, that's not it. I was appointed to the church in this town. You must be a resident of this town. It's a pleasure to meet you. She bowed her head. Getting placed in the church of this town. I thought it was abandoned though. Issei looked towards Rias and noticed the dark expression on her face. I have been in trouble since I got here. I can't speak Japanese that well. I was lost and other people couldn't understand what I was saying. She holds her hand together in front of her and looks really sad. So that means this person can't speak Japanese. I think I might know where the church is. I still have a bit of time before school starts. Why you do? Thank you. This is all thanks to God. She smiled at Issei with tears flowing from her eyes. Out of the corner of his eye, Issei saw Rias cringe at the mention of God. Hey Rias, why don't you goon ahead to school while I escort Asia? I know you have some important club business to attend to. Rias looked at Issei with a grateful expression and left after whispering thank you. Shall we go then? Asia nodded eagerly and walked faster to catch up with Issei. On the way to the church, they went past the park. Uea! The two heard the cry of a boy. Are you alright, Yashkun? It looked like he tripped over. The sister saw this and ran towards the boy. Hey! Issei also followed the sister. Are you okay? Boys shouldn't cry with a minor injury like this. She patted the boy's head gently. He probably didn't understand what she was saying, but the sister had a very kind expression. The sister put her palm where the boy has injured himself. The next moment shocked Issei greatly. A green light orb appears from the sister's palm and was flashing onto the boy's knee. Looking carefully, the boy's injury starts to disappear. The light from her hands seemed to be healing his injury. A sacred gear? When he looked again, the boy's injury was gone, and there wasn't even a trace left. The boy's mother was in shock. Anyone who sees unimaginable things will have a similar reaction. Here, your wounds are healed. The pain should be gone now. The sister patted the boy's head and looked at Issei. I'm sorry, but I had to. She laughed while sticking her tongue out. The boy's mother, who was shocked before, shook her head, then grabs the boy's hand so they can leave quickly. Thank you, Wani-chan. The boy's words. Words of gratitude. The sister looked confused because she couldn't understand. He said, Thank you, Wani-chan. She smiled happily after Issei translated for her. That power. Yes, it's the power to heal. It's a wonderful power that God gave me. She looked a bit sad, even though she was smiling. It seems like she had a dark past. Issei unconsciously frowned when he thought about it but shook his head to clear his thoughts. I probably shouldn't get too deep into it. The conversation ended there, and the pair continued walking towards the church. They reached the old church after walking for a few minutes. Yeah, the only church I know is this. It's just as old as I remember, though I've never seen anyone here before. Issei's eyes widened. Albion, do you feel that? Yeah. Fallen angels in the church. Issei narrowed his eyes. So she's with the fallen angels? What are they planning for her? Yes, this is the place. I'm so glad. The sister showed a sigh of relief after having compared their location with the map she had. Oh, so this is the right place. That's good. Then I'll be on my way. Please wait. Issei said his farewell and tried to leave, but the sister's words stopped him. I would like to make you some tea as a gratitude for taking me here. Oh, I'm in a rush so I have to get going. But that's... She looked troubled. My name is Haida Issei. Everyone around me calls me Issei. So you can call me Issei as well. What's your name? When he gave her his name, she responded with a smile. My name is Asia Argento. Please call me Asia. Then, Sister Asia, let's meet again. Yes. Issei-san, I will definitely come and see you. Asia bows her head down. He left the place after waving his hands towards her and made his way to school. Occult Research Club. You shouldn't go near the church again, Issei. Rias said sternly. What? Why not? To us devils, the church is an enemy's territory. To you, it's also enemy territory. The fallen angels are using the church as their base of operations. While I have no doubt you can defeat a single fallen angel, a group of them might overwhelm you. What makes you say that? Well, for one thing they can fly and you can't. Issei just smirked. Rias noticed this and looked confused. What? Instead of answering, he released his wings. Issei, you're a dragon? she asked, surprised. Yeah, now what was that you were saying about no chance against them? Still, there are 4 fallen angels and an unknown number of exorcists. You should be careful. Issei just nodded. Era, did you finish lecturing him? Aquino suddenly appeared behind Issei, smiling like usual. Aquino, did something happen? Aquino's expression changes after Rias asks her. We received an order for a hunt from the Archduke. Abandoned warehouse. Issei was unable to travel by magic circle as he was not a devil, so he met with the devils outside of the abandoned warehouse, where the stray devil was said to be. Smell of blood. Issei and Kaneko covered their noses after she says that. It became quiet. They could all feel the presence of an enemy nearby, and its intent to kill. I see, it's a good opportunity to see how we devils fight. Please don't interfere with the fight unless you have to. Today I want to explain to you the traits the servants have. Explain? The traits servants have? I may as well humor her. He feigned a confused look, and Rias continued. Devils, who are the master, give traits to those who will become their servants. Yes, I could also explain about the history of devils. Rias started to explain about the current situation of the devils. A long time ago, there was a 3-sided war between the devils, the fallen angels, and God with its angels' followers. All 3 sides had a large army, and they fought for almost eternity. As a result, all 3 sides lost most of their troops, and the war finished several hundred years ago with no side winning. This seems familiar. Oh right, the Great War. I remember him telling me about it when I learned about my heritage. Kiba continued after Rias. The devils were no exception. Big devils with peerage who commanded about, or troops lost most of their underlings because of the war. They lost so many that they couldn't even form new armies. Aquino continued on from there. I heard that most of the pure devils passed away in that war. Even after the war, there are still problems between the devils, the fallen angels, and God. Even though the fallen angels and God's side also lost most of their troops, we are still in a position where we can't let our guard down, or else we will be in trouble. Then, Rias spoke again. Then, the devils decided to use a system to form a small group of soldiers. And that is the evil peace. Devils with peerage decide to use the traits of the humans game chess to their servant devils. It was also sarcasm, because most of the servants are devils that were reincarnated from humans. Since then, chess became a popular game in the world of the devils. We'll leave that aside. Devils who are masters are a king. In our case, that is me. From there, they created special traits that consist of queen, knight, rook, bishop, and pawn. Since they couldn't make an army, they decided to have a small number of devils and give them enormous powers. This system was made in the past few hundred years, and this unexpectedly became popular amongst devils with peerage. Popular? You mean the chess rule, right? They started to compete against each other. For example, like, my knight is stronger. Or no, my rook is stronger. As a result, high-class devils started to play a game like that of chess against each other using their servant devils. We call it the rating game. Anyway, this game became very popular amongst the devils. Now, there are even tournaments for it. The strength of their pieces, and also how strong they are at the game affects the devil's social position, and their peerage. There is a thing called Piece Collect, where they gather humans with talents and make them into their pieces. It's very popular recently. Talented servants become their status. Issei nodded, seemingly interested in the devil's history. I'm not a mature devil yet, so I can't participate in the official tournament. Even if I could, there are things that I need to go through, or else I can't play. In short, my other servants here won't be participating in a game for a while. So does that mean that Kiba and the others haven't played in that game yet? Yeah. Kiba answered his question. Before anything else was said, everyone stopped as they felt something approach. I can smell something disgusting. But I can also smell something delicious. Is it sweet? Or is it sour? A low voice came from below the ground. Rias stepped forward with her hands on her hips. Stray devil visor. We are here to eliminate you. A topless woman appears from the shadow. But the woman's body is floating. Heavy footsteps were heard. The next thing that appears is the body of a gigantic beast. It was a grotesque being with an unnatural form, having a woman's upper body and the lower body of a monster, holding something that looked like a spear in both of its hands. The lower body of the monster had 4 fat legs with sharp claws and a snake's tail. Judging from the size of it, it was definitely more than meters tall. Leaving your master's side and rampaging as you please definitely deserve death. In the name of Duke Gremory, I will gladly eliminate you. You are cunning for a little girl. I will rip your body, and color it in red just like your hair, the monster barks, but Rias just laughed with her nose. Grunts sure do speak in a stylish manner. Yuto, yes. Kiba, who was near Issei, sprinted ahead as soon as Rias gave him the order. Fast. Although Issei had seen his speed firsthand, he was still astounded at how fast Rias, knight, was. I see, I will continue from the lecture before. Issei nods. Yuto's position is knight. Its trait is speed. Those who become a knight have their speed increased. Just like Rias said, Kiba's speed had increased. The monster was using its spear to attack, but it didn't seem like it would hit. And Yuto's ultimate weapon is swords. Kiba stopped, and suddenly he was holding onto a European sword. He took it out of the scabbard, and the drawn sword is reflecting the light of the moon. Kiba sprinted away again. Next moment, the scream of the monster echoes. Jaya. When he looked, both of its arms were cut from its torso along with the spear, blood gushing out of its wounds. This is Yuto's power, speed that you can't follow with your eyes, and sword skills of a professional. By combining these two, he becomes the fastest knight. He may be better than most, but he's still a generic knight. All speed and no defense. A single shot to his legs could defeat him easily. There was a shadow near the monster's legs. Kaneko was stood there. Next is Kaneko. She is a rook. The trait of a rook is its damn and seeked. The enormous monster tried to stomp on Kaneko, but the monster's foot didn't hit the ground. It wasn't able to stomp completely. The girl with a tiny body was lifting up the monster's foot. The trait of a rook is simple. Absolute strength. And also very high defense. It's impossible for a devil with that caliber to stamp on Kaneko. It can't crush her. Kaneko completely lifted up the monster. Fly Kaneko jumped high and punched into the monster's stomach very sharply. The enormous body of the monster was thrown backwards. Same as Kiba, a generic rook, good attack and defense, but no speed at all. Lastly Akino. Yes, Bucho. Era, what should I do? Akino was laughing while walking towards the monster that was on the ground after being hit by Kaneko. Akino is a queen. She's the one who is the strongest after me. She is the unbeatable vice president of our club who has all the traits of pawn, knight, bishop, and rook. Good. The monster stares at Akino, who makes a fearless laugh after seeing the monster's gaze. Era, seems like you still have some energy left in you. Then how about this? Issei felt another twinge of pain as she walked forward. Akino-san puts her hands towards the sky. Next instant, the sky sparkled, and a lightning bolt stuck down on the monster. Gay. The monster was electrified violently. Its entire body was burnt and smoke was coming out from it. Era, looks like you still have some energy in you. Looks like you can take more. Another lightning bolt hit the monster. Jaya. The monster was electrified again. It already sounded like it was dying. Even so, Akino continued striking the monster with a third lightning bolt. Akino's face while striking down the lightning bolt looked scary and cold even though she was smiling. Akino excels at attacks using demonic powers. She could use natural elements like lightning, ice, and fire. And most of all, she is the ultimate sadist. Usually, she's very kind, but once the battle starts, she won't stop until she calms down. Yufu. How much of my lightning can you take? Right, Monster-san? You still can't die yet, okay? The one who finishes you off will be my master. Oh ho. The way she fights, a bishop, probably would have suited her. She doesn't use any of the other traits she has access to. For a few minutes, Akino's lightning attacks continue. After she calmed down, Rias confirms it, and nods her head. Rias approaches the monster that has already lost its will to fight, and put her hand towards the monster. Any last words? Rias asks coldly. The stray smirked as the red-headed devil approached and her servants lowered their guard. Now! When the stray shouted this, Rias' peerage were trapped in a sticky web-like substance, and two other strays appeared from the shadows and walked towards the trapped devils. Kakik, not so tough now are you, the three monsters laughed maniacally. The new strays raised their claws, ready to strike down the trapped peerage before they both simultaneously screamed in pain. The teen devils all looked surprised as the two that ambushed them were sliced cleanly in half, along with the web that was trapping. Looking to the left, they noticed Issei stood against the wall with Kalidbalg in hand. The original stray attempted to leave before they all noticed, but Issei ran in front of it and kicked it into the middle of the room. Rias walked up to the stray and smirked. I'll ask you again. Any last words? Vesa growled. Kill me. That was the only thing the monster said, then disappear. A gigantic black mass of demonic power is shot out of Rias' palm. It was so big that it covered all of the monster's body and devoured it completely. She's using up way too much power and her control is abysmal. When the demonic power disappears, so did the monster's body. Just like she said, it disappeared, confirming it. Rias makes a sigh. It's over. Good work, everyone. Let's go back. The ORC left the warehouse and returned to the old school building, whereas Issei just left for home. Albion speaking aloud. Issei was on his way home after the stray devil fight when he heard a scream coming from a nearby house. And Nua! Issei charged in the direction of the scream and came across a house. It smells like blood. He walked up to the door and noticed that it was open. Issei stepped inside and slowly made his way to the smell, but after hearing a crash he ran into the room. Upon entering the room, he saw Kaneko on one knee with multiple cuts over her arms, and Asia pinned against the wall by a familiar-looking priest. Issei noticed the bruise on Asia's cheek and the tear in her clothes. Asia, everyone in the room turned to Issei. Issei-san? Issei-senpai, what are you doing here? Kaneko asked. I heard a scream, so I came to check it out. Kaneko-chan, go back to the clubroom. Don't worry about me, I'll take care of him. She just nodded and left the house. Issei looked around and saw the corpse nailed to the wall. Did you do this, Freed? The priest widened his eyes before a large smirk grew on his face. Oh, it's the shitty brat who humiliated me before. Yes. I killed him. Because he was a regular criminal who has been summoning devils, so I had to kill him. If you're a priest, shouldn't you be killing devils instead of humans? Lecturing me again? I already told you I don't care who I kill as long as I can keep killing. The church didn't like it, so they kicked me out. But I can keep killing thanks to the fallen angels. Sama, you're insane. Say what you like, shitty brat. You're still going to die for what you did in Vatican City. Freed charged at Issei with his light sword, but before it could connect, a magic circle appeared. Kiba shot out and blocked the sword with his own. Hayata-kun, we came to help you, Kiba said while smiling. Era. This is awful. Priest. Akino and Kaneko appeared out of the magic circle next. Hayaho. Here's a present for a group of devils. The priest started slashing his sword. The sound of the metal echoed throughout the room. Kiba blocked the priest's attack with his sword. I'm sorry. He's one of our allies. We won't allow you to lay a finger on him. Oh. A mere devil being concerned about their comrade? What are you guys? Devil Squadron, the Devil Rangers? That's nice. I can feel the heat. I'm getting turned on. So how is it? Are you the one sticking it in, and is he the one bending? So are you guys in that sort of relationship? They were exchanging sword blows. The priest was getting cocky and sticking his tongue out while shaking his tongue and his head. Kiba had an anguished expression. What a vulgar mouth. It's hard to believe you are a priest. Oh, that's why you are a stray exorcist, right? Yeah. I'm vulgar. Sorry about that. That's because I strayed away. I was kicked out. That's why. Screw the Vatican. I'm all right as long as I get to cut devils whenever I feel like it. Both of them were still exchanging their swords. Kiba had a calm expression, but his eyes had already captured his foe. But Freed was still laughing and enjoying the fight. A security professional finds himself in the body of one of the anime characters he has known for long. Watch Andrew Slane now. Issei Hayata navigate the dangerous world. You are the type that is the most hard to deal with. Someone who feels like they are living by cutting devils, the one who causes the most harm to us. Haoa. You know, I don't want to be told off by a devil. I'm trying to live now just like other people. I'm not in a position where pests like you can talk down to me. Even devils have rules. Akina said while smiling, but her eyes were serious, showing a sign of will to fight and hostility towards Freed. Nice. I like those passionate eyes. Wani-san, you are the best. I can feel your urge of wanting to kill me. Is this love? No. I think it's a killing intent. Superb. This is great. I love the feeling of intending to kill and getting intended to kill, then disappear. The person who appears last through the magic circle was the crimson-haired girl, Rias. Looks like you have been looking after my cute servant and friend? Her voice was low and sounds scary. Yes. I have been playing around with it. I was planning to cut their bodies all over, but I was interrupted, and it finished as a dream. A section of the furniture behind the priest was blown away by Rias as she shot a ball of demonic energy. I make sure I never forgive those who harm my servants. I especially can't forgive a lowlife like you damaging my personal possessions. Her intensity caused the atmosphere to feel frozen. Her killing intent was lurking around the room, while a crimson aura surrounded her. Bucho, there seems to be few fallen angels heading to this house. At this rate we will be at a disadvantage. Aquino detected something and informs them. Rias gives another stare at the priest. Aquino, we will return to our headquarters at once. Prepare for teleportation. Aquino nodded and began creating a magic circle. Rias looked to Issei worriedly. You aren't a devil, so, unfortunately, you can't use the magic circle. I hope you make it, Issei-kun. Kiba seemed to notice her worried expression and walked away from the circle. Don't worry, Bucho. I'll make sure he gets back in one piece. Rias nodded, looking relieved, and disappeared through the circle. Issei shook his head. I can make it back on my own instead of pushing. He just turned to Asia after seeing that Kiba wasn't going to relent. I'm taking Asia with me. Issei walked over to where Asia was and was about to pick her up, but before he could reach her, multiple light spears were sent in his direction. He wasn't able to dodge all of them in time, so he received a cut on his arm and stomach. I don't think so. Turning around, he saw Yuma stood with 3 other fallen angels, all with light spears in their hands. Freed, grab the girl and leave. We'll take care of the trash. The priest nodded and ran towards Asia, grabbed her and left. Asia! He tried to chase them, but was stopped by Kiba. Hayata-kun, we need to escape. Issei frowned, but relented. The 2 teens escaped through the window as the fallen angels were blocking the door. Issei was now sat in the ORC room. Aquino was to his left patching up his injuries while Issei listened to Rias speak. There are 2 types of exorcists. The first are the exorcists who receive the blessing from God to perform exorcism in the name of justice. This group of exorcists borrows its power from God and angels to eliminate devils. And there is another one. Stray exorcists. Issei nodded, prompting Rias to continue. Exorcism is a holy ceremony that is performed in the name of God. But sometimes there are exorcists who starts to enjoy the act of killing devils. They are beings who have found killing devils as joy and as their purpose of life, so they get kicked out from the church without exception. Or they get erased for being found guilty. Erased, so they get killed, right? But there are those who survive. What do you think happens to those exorcists? It's simple. They go to the fallen angels. Of course, even if they get kicked out, they still see it as their job to purge devils. They just find someone else to work for. Yes. Even though fallen angels are beings that were kicked out from the heaven, they still have the power of light, the power to eliminate devils. The fallen angels also lost a lot of their comrades and their men in the previous war. That's why they started to collect servants, just like us. So the fallen angels who finds the devils a nuisance and the exorcists who wants to kill devils have the same objective, right? Yes. That's why they are called stray exorcists. So the dangerous exorcists who became addicted to devil hunts started to attack devils and the humans with connections to devils by borrowing powers from the fallen angels. The boy priest from earlier is exactly that. He's a stray exorcist who belongs to an organization with the support of the fallen angels. They are not proper exorcists, but they are still dangerous like the proper ones. No, since they have no restrictions on them, They are much harder to deal with than the actual exorcists. It's not smart to deal with them. So, the church you went to before does not belong to God but to the fallen angels. Rias, I need to save that girl Asia. Issei-kun, she works for the fallen angels, who are trying to kill you. Saving her could cost you your life. But if you really want to, please don't do anything tonight. Issei was going to deny her request, but after seeing her pleading face, he decided against it. Fine. Rias thanked him and dismissed the group. Issei just flew home and went straight to bed. Rather than go to school, Issei was sitting on a bench in the park, thinking of a way to save Asia from the fallen angels. During his rush to get outside, he had forgotten to eat breakfast, a fact he was reminded of by the rumbling of his stomach. I better get some food, maybe I'll think of something after I've eaten. Issei stood up from the bench, and a flash of the color gold appears in his carefully. He could see a blonde-haired girl that looked very familiar to him. The girl also seemed to notice him, both looking extremely shocked at the meeting. Asia? Issei-san? You. It was a strange sight to say the least, a sister, getting confused in front of the register. What would you like to order? Not even the employee seemed to know how to handle the situation. It was lunchtime and Issei took Asia to a fast food restaurant at the business district. It seemed like Asia never been to that kind of place before, so she was having a hard time choosing her meal. Issei offered to help, but she said proudly, "It's fine, I will manage it somehow," so he has been watching her the whole time. Issei then remembered that she couldn't speak Japanese. Seeing the chance, he decided to help her. Sorry. She will have a hamburger with fries. Okay. The employee takes the order. Asia, on the other hand, was shocked. I'm ashamed. I can't even buy a single hamburger by myself. Well, first you need to get used to Japanese. The pair head towards the empty table as soon as we got our meals while I encourage Asia, who is feeling down. Looking at Issei's food, she was even more shocked. Issei-san, are you sure you can eat all that? Don't worry, Asia. I'll be fine. While they were moving inside the restaurant, most of the male customers directed their attention to Asia. It was because she is a nun, but also because she's really cute. They sat opposite each other, but Asia was taking a really good look at the hamburger, and wasn't eating it. Does she even know how to eat it? Princess, you can eat this by taking the wrap off like this. Issei showed her how to do it while smiling. There's actually a way to eat like that. Amazing. Issei's sweat dropped at the strange reaction. You also eat the fries like this. Oh my. Asia was watching Issei eat the fries with very keen eyes. No, you also eat, Asia. Why, yes. She then began to eat her own food, and after the first bite, her eyes lit up. Delicious. This burger is very delicious. You never ate a burger before? No. I have seen it often on television, but it's my first time eating it. I'm moved. It's delicious. Oh. So what do you normally eat? Mainly bread and soup. I also eat vegetable and pasta food. Is that right? Then eat it carefully so you remember the taste. Yes. I will eat it with joy. Asia started eating more vigorously. I wonder why she was at the park. She had told Issei that she has time off, but it looked like she was running away from something. When she saw Issei in the park, she seemed relieved. He had wanted to ask her but decided against it, thinking that might be a thoughtless question. I probably should wait till she feels like telling me. After watching Asia eating the hamburger, Issei had a thought. So she was raised in the church. I wonder if they ever let her have fun, Asia. Why, yes. We will go and have some fun now. Let's go to the game center. Issei put his foot down on the accelerator, and quickly changed the gear around the curve, quickly moving past both cars fast. You are so fast, Issei-san. Asia was watching Issei intently, amazed at how well Issei was playing. After Issei had finished playing, he lost sight of Asia, and after looking, he saw her standing in front of the crane game. What is it? He asked curiously. How? And no. It's nothing. When he asked her, she tried to hide it. Is there something you want? Looking inside the crane game, he could see a doll of Reikun inside. A cute mascot based on a mouse. It looked like Asia also knew what it was. Asia, do you like Reikun? And no, that is. Asia's face changed into a shade of red, and she nodded her head shyly. Okay. I will get it for you, eh? But, it's okay, I will get it. Issei put the coin in immediately and started controlling the crane. On his first try he dropped the doll on a good location, and on his second he completely missed. He missed on both the third and fourth tries as well, but when Asia became worried on his fifth try, he managed to get it. Issei made a victory pose and took Reikun, which just dropped out, and held it out to Asia. Here you go, Asia. Asia became so happy that she held the doll to her. Thank you very much, Issei-san. I will take care of this doll. Hey, if a doll like that makes you happy, then I'll get you more next time. She shook her head in response. No, this Reikun that you gave me represents the wonderful day I met you. Since today is the only day I met you, I will take good care of this doll. Okay. We haven't started yet. Asia, we will play for the whole day today. Follow me. Why yes. Issei took Asia's hand and went further into the game center. We played a lot today. Why yes, I'm a bit tired. They were walking on the street while laughing. The two had spent the entire day playing together, and before they realized, it was already evening. While the two were walking, Issei winced as he felt his wound begin to sting again. Oh. Asia seemed to notice and looked worried. Issei-san, are you injured? Is it from yesterday? Issei nodded. Can you please lift your shirt up? Issei looked skeptical at first, but complied nonetheless. When he lifted up his shirt, there was a visible mark on his side. Asia then placed her palm over the injury. A pair of silver rings appeared on her hands, and a warm green glow was emanating from her palms. Looking closely, he could see the cut had gone. How is it? This is amazing, Asia. I don't feel uncomfortable anymore. I don't feel any pain at all. Asia smiles happily. You are amazing, Asia. The healing power, it's an incredible power. This is a sacred gear, right? Yes, it is. Just like I thought. To tell you the truth, I also have a sacred gear. Asia puts on a shocked face after hearing his confession. Issei-san, you also have a sacred gear? I didn't realize it at all. Yeah, I do. But Asia, your healing power is amazing. Is it limited to humans only, or can you heal things like angels, fallen angels and devils? She put on a complicated expression, then a sad face. Soon after, a single drop of tear fell from her eyes, then more tears starts flowing out from her eyes. She then got down and began crying. Issei didn't know what to do, so he took her to a spot where they can sit. He and Asia sat on the bench on the roadside. Then she told him a story about the girl who was once called the Holy Maiden. In a certain region in Europe, there was a girl who was discarded by her parents. She was raised in a church nearby by a nun along with other orphans. The girl, who was a strong follower of the church, received a special power at the age of. She healed a wounded puppy, and a person from the Catholic Church witnessed it by chance. From there on, her life changed. The girl was taken to the main Catholic Church, and she was symbolized by many as a holy maiden because of her healing power. She used her power to heal many believers, and they were told it was a power of divine protection. Rumors brought rumors, and she was respected as a holy maiden. Even without her approval, she had no dissatisfaction for how she was treated. People from the church were kind, and she didn't hate healing people. She instead was happy that her power was of use. The girl was thankful to her power, which was bestowed to her by God. But she was a bit lonely. She didn't have any friends she could open up to. Everyone treated her nicely and was nice to her. But there were no one willing to become her friend. She understood why. She knew that they were looking at her power as something irregular. They didn't look at her as a human but as a creature that could heal humans. But one day it changed. By coincidence, there was a devil nearby and she healed it. A wounded devil. The girl couldn't ignore it. She thought that even if it was a devil, she had to heal it if it was injured. It was her kindness that made her take such an action. But that changed her life forever. One of the people from the church saw that incident and notified others of the church. The ministers of the church were shocked about it. A power that can heal devils. Something absurd like that cannot happen. The power of healing can only heal the followers of God. Yes, there were several people who had the power to heal. But the power to heal the devil was out of the question. The people of the church thought it was common sense that the power of healing doesn't work on fallen angels and devils. Apparently, a similar incident had happened in the past. The power to heal fallen angels and devils that were not protected by God. But that was feared as the power of a witch. So the people saw her as a heretic. Damn witch that heals devils. The girl who was respected as a holy maiden was then feared as a witch, and the Catholic Church abandoned her. She didn't have anywhere to go, and the organization of stray exorcists picked her up. In other words, she had to get divine protection from the fallen angels. But the girl never forgot to pray to God. She also never forgot to thank God. Even so, the girl was abandoned. God didn't save her. What shocked her the most was that there was not even a single person in the church that was willing to defend her. There was no one who cared about her. It's because I didn't pray enough. It's because I'm clumsy. I'm so stupid that I can't even eat a burger by myself. Asia wipes her tears while laughing. Issei didn't know what to say to her. He didn't know what to say after finding out her devastating past. Just like she showed before, she was a sacred gear possessor that has the power to heal even devils. This is also a trial that the Lord gave me. Since I'm a clumsy nun, the Lord gave me this trial. So I have to endure it. She was laughing as if she was talking to herself. You don't have to say anything anymore. He thought sadly. I'm sure I will make lots of friends one day. I have a dream. I want to go buy flowers with a friend, buying books and talk. I can't look at her anymore. She must have been enduring it the whole time. She has been waiting for God to save her the whole time, and has been hiding her feelings all along. Issei took her hand, and spoke to her while looking directly to her eyes, which were still wet with her tears. Asia, I will become your friend. No, we are already friends. Her eyes widened and she tackled Issei into a hug. Thank you, Issei-san. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Issei chuckled nervously and patted her back gently. Will you really be my friend? Of course, Asia. I will be your friend for a long time. It's impossible. A sinister voice spoke. Issei looked towards the direction of where the voice came from, and saw the same girl that had asked him on a date, and tried to kill him. Asia spoke up surprised. Rainer-sama. Issei smirked, and pulled Asia behind him as she spoke. Hello again, Rainer. The fallen angel sneered at him. I don't need a lowly human like you casually calling my name. Issei laughed. Wow, such arrogance. I thought you would have learned your lesson when I sent Donasek back to you with that fatal injury. His smirk grew as she got even angrier. Oh, and for the record, I'm not human, he said, releasing his dragon wings. I see, so you didn't have a dragon-type sacred gear, the dragon aura was your own. Wrong again, fallen angel. He activated, divine dividing. Rainer's eyes widened. It's no wonder they saw you as a threat. Divine dividing, the mid-tier Longinus. That power could be useful to my superiors, so I'll be taking you along with Asia. Asia hid herself behind Issei. You won't be taking either of us, Rainer, Issei said with a serious expression. Rainer laughed sadistically. You seem to think you have a choice in the matter. She summoned a spear of light and threw it at Issei, who swatted it away with a smirk adorning his face. Rainer sneered. It seems as though Donasek was right. You are stronger than we thought. Issei's smirk grew. Attack now. Before he knew what happened, Asia was screaming for help as she was grabbed from behind. Issei was about to chase after her, but he was forced to jump away when a pair of light spears were sent his way. I brought some friends this time, so don't think you will win this time, Donasek said before turning to a blonde-haired fallen middle. Take her back to the church. We will return later when we deal with the brat. The young fallen nodded and flew off with Asia in her arms. Issei tried to chase after them again, but was cut off by Donasek and a blue-haired fallen angel. Out of my way! He shouted. The fallen angels prepared more light spears and threw them at Issei, who easily blocked them. Kellewarner, Donasek, keep him alive. His sacred gear is powerful, so it could be useful for our superiors. Rainer said. The two other fallen nodded, and all three began to throw more spears at Issei, who summoned multiple defensive barriers in response. I've had enough, was all Issei said before he disappeared. The fallen angels looked around confused, until Rainer screamed out in pain as she was kicked in the back by Issei, and was sent flying towards her comrades. Divide. Rainer almost fell to the ground as she felt the power leave her. Issei began charging magic into his hand while dodging light spears. Divide. After the second divide, Rainier fell to one knee, and Issei used the opportunity to blast the group with a wave of fire, leaving a cloud of smoke when the attack connected. When the smoke cleared, the three fallen angels were looking worse for wear, all badly injured and breathing heavily. Rainier. I hate to say it, but I don't think we can win this, Donasek said between breaths. Donasek's right, Ray. We should retreat while we still can, Calwarner said soon after. Rainier growled in anger. Damn it, we underestimated him. You're right, Kala, we must retreat for now. But when the ritual is complete, I'll be back to destroy you. Issei flew at them. I won't let you. He almost reached them, but the fallen angels threw multiple spears as a distraction to give them time to escape. When he looked back to where they were, the fallen angels were gone. Issei punched the ground in frustration. I will save you, Asia. I won't lose another friend. The sky was already dark, the street lamps illuminating the barren streets. Issei was examining the church from a position where he could see the doors, and was about to enter before a hand on his shoulder halted his movements. Turning around, he looked surprised at who he saw. Kiba-kun, Kaneko-chan, what are you two doing here? Butcho sent us to take care of the enemies in the church. What about you? Issei looked back to the church doors. I'm here to save Asia, but I'll give you a hand with the exorcists along the way. The two nodded gratefully. Let's go. Then Kaneko walked ahead of the others and stopped in front of the door. Issei was about to ask what she was doing, but before he could speak, Kaneko punched the door open. Issei's eyes widened slightly, but he just shrugged it off and walked in and looked at her. You know, we could have tried a stealthy approach. No point. They already know we're here. As the trio entered the church, a clapping sound echoed throughout the sanctuary. When they all looked towards the noise, they saw Freed Selzen walking out from behind a pillar. Issei scowls upon seeing him. Meeting. It's a reunion. So emotional. Well, I never met the same devil twice before, you know. Since I'm super strong, I cut devils into pieces when I first meet them. Once I see them, I cut them up on the spot. I then kiss the corpse and say goodbye. That's how I used to live. But since you guys ruined my style, I'm so lost. That's no good. It's not good to interfere with Mu lifestyle. That's why. You guys piss me off. I hope you guys will die. Actually die. You trashy devils. After showing his joy and sadness, Freed exploded in a rage. He took out the gun and handle-only sword from before, and a blade of light appears. You guys came to rescue Asiatan, right? Ha! Devil Samus are big-hearted for coming to rescue a bitch like that who would even heal devils. Well, just being entranced to someone like you should make that sister die. Die? What does he mean? Hey! Where is Asia? Well, there's a hidden stairs under that altar. From there you can go to the place where they are doing the ritual. Freed said while pointing at the altar. Issei got in a battle-ready stance and Kiba pulled out a sword. Kaneko, however, get smashed. Kaneko was throwing pews at the priest. Wow! Oh yeah! Freed did a small dance and cut the bench in half with his light sword, the toe halves hitting the ground. There. Kiba had already shot forward and began exchanging blades with Freed. There were sparks between Kiba's sword and Freed's blade of light. Such a pain. Why are you guys so noisy? I'm super very bad. I'm sorry for talking in a death language. Forgive me after you die. Kiba dodged the soundless bullets with his knight's speed, while continuing to attack the enemy. It looks like Freed's gotten stronger since last time the battle went on. The two swordsmen were on par with each other. Either side had the advantage. Kiba and the priest then started to battle head-on. Both of them were glaring at each other. A security professional finds himself in the body of one of the anime characters he has known for long. Watch Andrew slain now. Issei how to navigate the dangerous world. Impressive. You are quite strong. Ahaha. You too. A knight, huh? Not even a single blind spot. This is great. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. Lately, I haven't had an awesome battle like this, not since fighting Issei-kun back then. I was about to cry because of it. I'm going to kill you. Then maybe I should also fight seriously for a bit then. He wasn't even trying to win? He needs to finish this quickly, or I'll do it myself. Eat this. Kiba says in a threatening tone, And after he says this, some black stuff comes out of his sword and begins to cover Freed's light sword. Wah, what the hell is this? Freed looked confused. Holy Eraser, a darkness sword that devours light. Why, you are also a sacred gear possessor, so he has a sacred gear too. The priest's blade of light was completely devoured by Kiba's sword, and was unable to maintain its shape after the light was eaten. Issei was growing impatient as the battle drew on. We're wasting time. Issei shouted and sprinted towards Freed with his fist raised. The priest noticed him and started shooting his gun, which Issei just dodged. I keep on telling you. You are annoying. He continued to shoot the light bullets at Issei, who was still dodging until he was right next to Freed. Issei sent his right fist to the priest's cheek, sent him back into the altar. That's for hitting Asia that time. The priest is on the ground, but gets up slowly and spits his blood onto the ground. Oh man, not only I got punched by a shitty brat, but he's saying some weird crap to me. Don't with me. The priest made a howl. Don't with me. You Shiite. A mere shit like shouldn't act cocky with me. I'll kill you. Definitely. I'll definitely kill you. I'm going to cut you into pieces, you Shiite. The priest took out his second sword, which only has its handle. Issei, Kiba, and Kaneko-chan surrounded the priest when he prepared to fight. Freed notices it. He looks around and begins to smirk. Wow. Is this what you call a crisis? For me, getting killed by a devil is a no-no, so I feel like retreating. It's a shame that I can't exorcise you guys, but I also don't want to die. The priest takes out something round and smashes it onto the floor. Instantly, our eyes are blinded with a shining light. This again. When his eyes healed, Issei looked around, but the priest is gone. Hey! The shitty brat over there, Issei-kun, was it? To tell you the truth, I have fallen in love with you. So I will definitely kill you. Definitely, okay? I won't forgive a shitty brat who punched me and gave me a lecture, okay? Then bye-bye. Kiba, Kaneko, and Issei nodded at each other, and went towards the altar, and walked down the hidden staircase. At the bottom of the stairs, there was a single passage. Kaneko points to the far end by saying, possibly at the end of this passage. I can smell that person. Don't worry, Asia. I'll save you. When they reached the end of the passage, a big door appeared. Is that it? Possibly. I'm sure there are groups of exorcists and fallen angels inside. Are you ready? Kaneko and Issei both nod at Kiba's question. Okay, then we'll open the door. When Kiba and Issei were about to open the door, it opened by itself with an audible creak. While making the large noise, the inside of the ritual place became visible. Welcome, filthy human. Oh, and look, you brought the devils with you. The fallen angel, Rainier, spoke from the end of the room. The room was full of priests. They all had a sword handle that makes the blade of light in their hands. Issei looked at the girl who was attached to the cross and shouted, Asia! Asia noticed the voice and looks at Issei. Issei-san? Yeah. I've come to save you. He smiles at her, and a tear dropped from her eye. It's a touching reunion, but it's too late. The ritual is about to finish now. The ritual is finished? What does she mean? Suddenly, Asia's body started to glow. Iya. Asia screams. She looks very painfully. Asia. Issei tried to reach her, but the priests surround me. I won't let you interfere. Damn devils. I will destroy you. Move. Shitty priests. I don't have time to bother with you all. Heard a loud bang. When he looked, Kaneko punched one of the priests away. Please don't touch me. Kiba also drew his darkness sword. Looks like I will have to go full throttle from the beginning. I hate priests. If there are this many, then I won't hold back to devour your light. Kiba's eyes became sharp. At the same time, a large light comes out of Asia's body. Rainier takes it to her hand. This is it. This is the power that I craved for a long time. Sacred gear. With this, I will be loved. With an expression of ecstasy, Rainier hugged on to the light, then the bright light enveloped the ritual room. When the light stopped, the fallen angel was emitting a green-colored light from her body. Ufufa. Ah! I finally have it. The supreme power. With this, I can become a supreme fallen angel. With this I can pay back all those who are looking down on me. The fallen angel makes a big laugh. Issei didn't pay attention to her, and went straight to Asia. The priests were trying to stop him, but Kiba and Kaneko intercepted them by blowing them away. Kiba's sword devours the light of the priest's sword, and Kaneko hit the priest who has lost their weapon with one mighty hit. The combination of these two is remarkable, and it's obvious that it isn't the type of combination possible with a few days of practice. Thanks, you too. Asia was still attached to the cross, her body limp and lifeless. Issei broke the chains on her hands and legs, and held her in his arms. I see, San. Asia, I came to take you back. Yes. Her voice was very small when she replied, and it didn't sound lively. Come on, Asia. I can't lose another friend, please live. It's futile. Rainier makes a smirk as if she was rejecting his thoughts once again. Possessors whose sacred gear is taken away from their body will die. That girl is going to die. Then give the sacred gear back. He shouted at her, but she just laughed. There's no way that I will give it back. You know I even deceived my superiors to get my hands on this? I will kill all of you and erase all evidences. Rainery! Ahahaha. I don't want a rotten brat like you calling my name. Rainier makes a sneer. Issei was just about ready to destroy her where he stood, but he was stopped yet again. Hayada-kun. Our formation is at a disadvantage while we are protecting that girl. So go upstairs at once. We'll make the path for you. Now hurry, Kiba said while taking down the priests. He's right. There are still a great number of priests left, so there will be a limit to fighting this fallen angel here while protecting Asia. Issei glared at Rainier, and then left the place carrying Asia. Kaneko-chan, we will make an escape path for Hayada-kun. Affirmative. The two of them started to take down the priests who were trying to get in his way. Thanks to their support, he was able to get to the entrance of the ritual room right away. Kiba! Kaneko-chan, you go ahead. We will handle here. Please go quickly. Kiba! Kaneko-chan. When I get back, call me Issei. Definitely. We are friends. The two of them smiled and Issei left the room, heading straight out the passage. Issei went up the stairs holding Asia, and came out to the sanctuary. There was something wrong with Asia. Her face was pale, so Issei laid her down on one of the pews. Just wait a bit. You will be free soon, Asia. You will be able to play with me from now on. Asia makes a small smile at his words. She then takes his hand. I can't feel any strength or warmth from her hand. Issei thought gravely. I was happy that I had a friend, even for a short while. Asia was smiling even though she was in pain. If I were to be born again, will you become my friend once more? What are you saying? Don't say that. Let's go somewhere to have fun. I will drag you even though you don't want to. We will go to karaoke. Game center. Let's also go bowling. Also other places. Also to that place. And there. He couldn't stop the tears from coming out. I'm supposed to be talking to her with a smile, but I can't stop crying. He knew it. I already knew it, but he couldn't admit it. Asia was dying. She was going to die. We are friends. Always. Yeah, that's right. We'll always be friends. If I was born in this country, and went to the same school as you. Let's go. Come to our school. Asia's hand pats his cheek. You even cry for someone like me, now I can. Her hand that was patting his cheeks dropped slowly. Thank you? Those were her last words. She passed away smiling. Issei lost all strength. He just stood there looking at her face. The tears wouldn't stop. Why? Why did she have to die? She was a good girl. She was a kind girl who would heal anyone injured. How come no one became her friend? How come I was never by her side? Hey, God! You are there, right, God? Devils and angels exist, so you do exist as well, right, God? You were watching, right? You were watching all of this, right? Issei shouted at the ceiling of the church. Please don't take this girl away. Please! I beg you! She hasn't done anything. She just wanted a friend. I will be her friend forever. So please. I want this girl to smile forever. Hey, please. God. Even though he screamed towards heaven, no one answered him. Why did you have to take her? Is it because I'm friends with devils? Don't take her away from me. I can't lose another friend. He bit his teeth with regret. I tried. I promised it wouldn't happen again, but I failed. She died because of my weakness. Era, someone like you, repenting in a place like this? Or were you wishing for something? The voice he heard from behind him was that of Rainier. When he turned around, he saw the fallen angel smirking at him. Look at this. This is the wound I got from the night boy while I was coming here. Rainier placed her hand on her wound, and the shallow green light started to heal her. Look! Wonderful, isn't it? I can heal any kind of wound. To us fallen angels, who lost the protection of God, that child's sacred gear was a wonderful present. That sacred gear belongs to Asia. But if she's here, are Kiba and Kaneko-chan safe? My status will rise since I will be a fallen angel that can heal fallen angels. I could be of help to the great Azazel-sama and Shemhaza-sama. There is nothing more wonderful than this. Ah, Azazel-sama. My power is all for you, like I care. I glared at Rainier. I don't care about that. Fallen angels, God, and devils. Those things had nothing to do with this girl. No, it did. She was a chosen human that possessed the sacred gear. Even so, she could have lived quietly. She could have lived normally. She couldn't. Those with irregular sacred gear would be left out of the world in groups. Because they possess a powerful ability. Because they have a different power than others. You know humans hate those things, right? Even though it's a wonderful power like this, then I would have protected Asia, as her friend. Ahahaha. It's impossible. Because she died. That girl is dead, you know? It's not the matter of whether you protect her or not. You couldn't protect her. You really are a weird boy. It's so amusing, I know. That's why I can't forgive you. And myself. He looked down to the lifeless form of Asia. Give it back. Rainier looked at Issei as if he was insane. What? I said, give it back. That sacred gear belongs to Asia, so give it back to her, before I take it by force. Rainier laughed loudly. I don't think so, filthy human. You may have beaten us before, but now that I have twilight healing, I can heal any wound. You should just say your goodbyes now, because I'm going to key. She was cut off when Issei fired a magic bullet at her face. She tilted her head to the right, barely dodging the attack, although the bullet did graze her cheek. You filthy brat, how dare you attack a high-class fallen angel like me? All she wanted was to make friends, and live a happy life. I was her friend, and you killed her. No, I helped her. Didn't you know? She was shunned by the same people who worshipped her, so I put her out of her misery. She doesn't deserve to live. Rainier saw that Issei was stood still and threw 2 spears at him, intending to pierce his heart. She smirked when she saw that Issei wasn't doing anything to defend himself, but the smirk changed to shock when a defensive barrier appeared in front of him and destroyed the spears when they made contact. Issei walked slowly towards Rainier, whose response was to throw more spears at him, but the shield just broke them. Just die already! She screamed while throwing more spears. Issei was now right next to Rainier, her back pressed against the wall. Issei gripped her tightly around the neck and lifted her in the air. The fallen angel tried to break free by kicking and punching, but Issei showed no reaction. Instead, he just shot a large magic bullet into her abdomen, sending her skidding across the floor. Rainier stood up shakily, trembling when she felt the intensity of Issei's killing intent. Impossible. What is this? Why is something like this happening? I am the fallen angel that has attained the ultimate healing power. I turned into a superior being by obtaining this twilight healing. I received the right to be loved by Azazel-sama and Shemhaza-sama. I wouldn't lose to some low-life like you. Rainier once again had a spear of light in both her hands. Issei hit them to the side with his fist. The spears of light disappear easily. Seeing him hit away her spears with ease, Rainier's face gets even paler. And no! Rainier was flapping her black wings, and was about to fly away. Issei went up to her at the same time she's about to fly, and grabbed her arm, pulling her arm towards himself. I won't let you get away, fool. I'm superior. Blow away, You shitty angel! Damn you! Filthy human! Uriah! Issei gathered all his strength in his left arm, and used that fist to punch straight and accurately at the face of the fallen angel. The hard sound echoes throughout the church as the fist connected, sending Rainier flying backwards with the punch. The fallen angel crashed into the wall while making a very loud noise, breaking through, creating a large hole and causing dust to spread everywhere. When the dust disappears, there was nothing left in the direction Rainier was sent. The hole continued till outside of the building where Rainier is on the ground. She wasn't moving. He couldn't tell if she was dead, but she wouldn't be able to move for a while. Serves you right. Issei was smiling. He had just avenged Asia. But soon, tears began to fall from his eyes as he looked down at the limp form of the girl lay on the pew. Asia, good work on beating the fallen angel. Kiba appeared from the stairs under the altar, looking a little torn from his battle. He walks to Issei with a smile. Yo, you are late, Casanova. Fufufu, Bucho told me not to interfere. Rias-senpai did? That's right. I believe that you were able to beat the fallen angel Rainier. I just wanted to see what you could do. When he turned around to the direction where the voice came from, he saw Rias was walking towards him smiling while waving her crimson hair. Rias-senpai? Where did you come from? From the basement. I finished my business, so I used the magic circle to come here. It was my first time transporting to a church, so I was nervous. She said this while she makes a sigh. Issei notices Kaneko walking past him. Where is she going? Rias stands in front of Issei. Looks like you won safely. Yeah, I won. Fufufu, excellent. Just what I expected. She tapped his nose. Era. The church is in a mess. Bucho, is it all right? Aquino had a troubled face. Is something wrong? Issei asks worriedly. Churches belong to God or religions related to him, but there are cases like this where it is used by fallen angels. In cases like this, if we devils damage the church, there will be times when we get targeted by assassins. For revenge and payback. But it won't happen this time. Why is that? He asked curiously. This church was originally an abandoned one. So a certain group of fallen angels had come here to use it for their own greed, and we just happened to have a fight in a place like that. So we didn't step foot on the enemy's actual territory to have war. So it's just a small fight between a devil and a fallen angel. This happens every time. That's what happened, Bucho. I brought it. Kaneko appeared from the hole in the wall, dragging the fallen angel Rainier by her wings. Thank you, Kaneko. Now then, let's wake her up. Aquino. Hi. Aquino lifts her hand up, and makes a ball of water appear up in the air. She dropped the ball of water created in the air on Rainier, who coughs after the splash. The fallen angel wakes up and opens her eyes slowly. Rias just looks down on her. How are you doing, fallen angel Rainier? The daughter of the Gremry clan. Hello, my name is Rias Gremry. I'm the next heir of the House of Gremry. It will be for a short while, but nice to have your acquaintance. Rias greeted her with a smile, but Rainier glares at her, then she sneers. You think you've got me, but too bad. This plan was kept secret from the higher-ups, but there are other fallen angels with me. If I get in danger they won't come to help. Rias said it clearly to reject Rainier's words. That's because I already eliminated all three of the fallen angel Calawerner, fallen angel Donasik, and fallen angel Middlet. Lies. Rainier rejects what Rias said while sitting up straight, but Rias takes out 3 black feathers. These are the feathers of those 3. You can tell them apart since you are the same kind as them, right? Seeing that, Rainier's expression darkened. Looks like Rias is speaking the truth. When I saw the fallen angel Donasik who attacked Issei before, I predicted that there were few fallen angels plotting something in this town. I ignored it because I thought it was a plan that involves the whole fallen angel. Even I'm not foolish enough to take on all of the fallen angels. Then I heard that the fallen angels were moving around secretively, so I went to talk to them, taking Aquino with me. When I met them in person, they blurted that it was their own plan. By helping you, they said they would get promoted to a higher status. Low life that move around secretively for their purpose usually brag about their plots. Rias smirked, and Rainier was biting her teeth with frustration. They must have looked down on us because it was just 2 girls who approached them. So I asked them as a parting gift. Fufufu, They were foolish fallen angels who didn't know who was going to die. Since they were willing to help in your pathetic plot, they themselves were low beings. Getting hit by a single shot won't even leave a trace. The princess of the Duke who has the power of destruction. Kuoh is a powerful devil who is called a genius among the group of young devils after all. Kiba makes a comment to praise his master. She is also called the crimson-haired ruined princess, you know? Aquino said while smiling. Ruined princess, eh? She must be good to get a nickname like that. Issei thought, slightly impressed. You greatly underestimated him, Rainer. You thought he was just a regular human, but you were wrong. You see, I see here is a dragon. Rainer looked at Issei in disbelief. What? That's impossible. I've seen your sacred gear. Divine dividing, I would recognize it anywhere. The devils all widened their eyes at the new information. Aquino was the one who was affected the most. Hakuryuku, the Issei knew had divine dividing. Could it really be you? To clarify, I'm a half-dragon. So you had no chance. Now then, I'll finish my last work. Ria's eyes become sharp, and she got close to Rainer. The fallen angel becomes scared. I will have you disappear, fallen angel-san, she said in a cold tone, filled with killing intent. Of course, I will retrieve that sacred gear back as well. Why, you can't be serious. This healing power is for Azazel-sama and Shemhaza-sama. To live your life for love is beautiful. But you are too tainted with dirt. You have no elegance. And I don't allow that. Rias aims her hand towards Rainer, aiming to kill her in one blow. Me here. Then, a shadow appears from behind the broken wall, the priest, Freed Zelzen. Wow! My superior is in serious danger. So what's going to happen now? Rainer screamed at the appearance of the priest. Save me. If you save me, I will give you a reward or anything you want. Freed Medea's sadistic smile. I received a wonderful order from an angel-sama. Eh? So I can have sex with you? To me, having sex with an angel-sama is like the best honor, and it will become a good social status for me. Kuoh! Don't fool around and save me. The fallen angel's expression was filled with anger. Ararara, you know that I'm actually serious. I mean, something simple like that should be alright, isn't it, Angel-sama? So it's a no? Is that so? Then I will take my leave now. No matter how you look at it, I'm at a disadvantage, so I will just take off. Freed says it in a funny tone while curling his body. Why, you are a priest, aren't you? You are supposed to save me. I'm an almighty fallen angel. I don't need a superior who loses to trashy devils. You are pretty, but you lack plans and you are hard-headed. The only thing you are useful for is masturbation. So just die away already. Well, a fallen angel who is abandoned by God won't go to either heaven or hell, but goes back to nothing. Maybe the experience of turning into nothing will be helpful? Ah, that's impossible, since there will be nothing left. It's impossible. Sonamusen. Wait, that's Buddhism. I'm a former Christian. I'm such a naughty boy. After saying that, he moved his sight elsewhere, as if he has lost interest in Rainer. Freed made a big smile at Issei. Issei-kun. You have such a wonderful ability. I'm getting more interested in you. You are so worthy to kill. You are definitely in my top for the people I want to kill, so be prepared, okay? Next time we meet, let's have a romantic fight to the death, okay? Psycho. Issei shouted back, making Freed laugh. See ya then. Bye. Remember to brush your teeth. Freed disappears immediately from the scene after waving his hands at them. Now fallen angel Rainer, who was abandoned by her own servant. Miserable. Rias didn't have the slightest sympathy in her tone, causing Rainer to shiver. Rainer then looks at Issei, making sorrowful eyes at me. Issei-kun. Please save me. Issei's eyes widened. This devil is trying to kill me. I love you. I love you so much. That's why, let's defeat this devil together. You know. I honestly enjoyed the time we spent together. It was the most fun I had had in a while. Even if you tried to kill me. Rias-senpai, please. Issei walked away, to where Asia was lay. Hearing that, the fallen angel's expression froze. Don't try to flirt with Issei-kun. Blow away. The demonic power shot by Rias left nothing of the fallen angel. The only thing left was the feathers of the fallen angel, and a green light floating in the sanctuary. It's Asia's sacred gear. It was released after Rainier was defeated. Rias takes the light in her hands now. Let's give this back to Asia Argento-san. She said to no one in particular. The devils looked to Issei, who was crying next to Asia's dead body again. Another person died because of me. The Gremry peerage were all shocked when he said this. But Aquino was affected the most. I'll have to ask him later. Rias stepped forward and embraced Issei. I see. Do you want her to live? Issei narrowed his eyes at Rias. You want her in your peerage, don't you? Rias nodded. As long as she lives. I'm fine with it. Rias nodded and placed the sacred gear on her fingers. She then summoned a bishop chess piece and placed it above Asia's heart. I order, in my name Rias Gremry. You, Asia Argento, I resurrect you back to this soil as my servant, and have you reborn as a devil. You, my bishop, be delighted with your new life. The crimson chess piece glowed and went inside Asia's body. At the same time, Asia's sacred gear went back inside her body. After a short while, Asia opened her eyes. Seeing that, Issei wasn't able to stop the tears from coming out. Huh! Asia's voice called out confused. Rias sends Issei a warm smile. I resurrected her because I wanted her power that can even heal a devil. Fu, even though you aren't a devil, I see, from now on, you'll protect her. Asia raises her upper body. She looks around and finds Issei. I see-san? Issei just hugged Asia, who looked puzzled. Let's go home, Asia. Issei and the devils were walking back from the church, but Issei was stopped by a voice. Issei-kun? Issei turned to see Aquino. What is it, Aquino-san? Back in the church, you said that another person died because of you. Issei nodded. What was their name? What? He asked, surprised. The person who died, what was their name? Issei tried to remember, but all he could feel were bursts of pain. I don't know. Aquino's eyes widened, and she gulped deeply. Was her name Shuri? When he heard the name, he felt a huge burst of pain within his head. Aquino noticed and decided to push on years ago, at a shrine on a hill. Do you remember what happened? Issei had already collapsed at this point. Aquino was crouched down next to him with a worried expression. Deep within the reaches of Issei's mind, there was a bright seal that had just shattered, releasing Issei's memories. Issei was barely conscious, still reeling from the pain caused by the seal breaking. His last words before finally falling into unconsciousness were, Aquino-chan? As he passed out, the devils crowded around him with worried expressions on their faces. What happened to him? Rias asked worriedly. I don't know, he just fell down. Don't worry about partner. The devils jumped at the sudden voice. All of them were searching for the owner. Who's there? Rias asked. I am Albion, the spirit of divine dividing. Now, as I was saying, partner is going to be fine. A seal was placed on his memories a while ago. That pain he felt was the seal being broken. He'll be fine by tomorrow. Bucho, I'll take him home. Rias looked surprised. Are you sure, Aquino? I could do it if you want. Sorry, Bucho, but I need to talk to Issei when he wakes up. Rias nodded. She and her peerage minus Aquino left for the clubroom, while Aquino went with Issei to his home, but instead of leaving him in his bed, she did the same thing Rias did, stripped naked and slept next to him. Lucy here. Just as a quick note, the introduction to Sona's peerage will happen after the Riser arc. Anyway, here's chapter. Enjoy. By the way, I have made some changes to chapter. They are minor changes, but slightly important to the future of the story. I own nothing but the story. Albion speaking, thinking, Albion speaking aloud. Issei's apartment. It was morning. Aquino was enjoying the feeling of Issei hugging her in his sleep while she was resting on his. She just lay there, enjoying his warmth until she felt Issei stir. When she sat up, she saw Issei staring at her wide-eyed, before hugging her tightly and sobbing into her shoulder. Aquino-chan, I can't believe it. I thought you died? Aquino returned the embrace, sobbing herself. What happened? Toussaint said he couldn't find you anywhere. When you disappeared after that bright flash, I thought you had died with the man that attacked us. I was worried that more of them were going to come back and kill me, so I ran away. Rias found me 2 years later. I was sentenced to death by the Himejima clan because of my blood, and I was allowed to live under the condition that I serve her. So Ryo-san saved you? Akino nodded. What about you? You just disappeared in that bright flash. The flash was caused by my balance breaker. When it activated, we crashed through the walls of the shrine and ended up in the forest, and when I got back, the building was on fire. Before he could continue, he was cut off by the sound of his stomach rumbling. Issei blushed, and Akino was covering her mouth trying not to laugh. Let's go get some breakfast, then we can catch up properly. Showers at the end of the hall if you want to use it. Akino nodded and left the room with her clothes. Akino and Issei entered the school grounds hand in hand, causing a lot of commotion among the students. Akino Wanisama and the prince are holding hands. Do you think they're dating? Damn Bishinin! How dare he take our Akino Wanisama? Issei sighed. I never thought that walking with Akino-chan would get this much attention as they were walking. Issei began to recall the events of the previous night. I wonder how Asia's adapting to her new lifestyle. Issei was interrupted from his musing when Akino stopped them near the stairs and turned to face him. He was about to ask what she was doing, but before he could utter a word, she kissed him fully on the lips. Issei just stood surprised at the sudden act of affection. The girls were squealing in excitement at the sight of two of their idols kissing, while the boys were fuming with rage. Akino was the first to speak after they broke the kiss. I've missed doing that. I'll see you later, Issei-kun. Issei was still in shock and could only nod in response, and watched as she made her way to her classroom before leaving to his own. He then sighed. I don't think I'll ever be used to that. Why not, partner? Most of my previous hosts loved getting that kind of attention. It's not that I don't like it. It's just feel like I don't deserve it. Not until I avenge Shuri, at least, he thought sadly. A security professional finds himself in the body of one of the anime characters he has known for long. Watch Andrew's slaying now. Issei hired to navigate the dangerous world. Hey Albion, you remember what Kuoh said about Azazel? If you mean about the sacred gear stuff, then yeah, why do you ask? If what she said is true, then do you think that he was responsible for the rogue fallen angels? Now that you mention it, it's likely that he was the one who set them up, but, as I said, with no proof we can't do anything. Issei nodded and looked up to see that he was at his desk and sat down. Almost immediately, a pair of hands slammed down on his desk. When Issei looked up, he saw the perverted duo, Matsuda and Motohama, both with enraged expressions on their faces. Hayadu, what the hell were you doing with Akino-sama? Issei raised an eyebrow when Matsuda shouted the question. We came from the same direction, so we walked together, he replied. Don't give us that crap, pretty boy. You were holding her hand when you walked in. I saw you kiss her too. Who the hell do you think you are, kissing our Akino-sama like that? Motohama added. Issei looked at him with another raised eyebrow, before shrugging and turning away. This infuriated the two perverts, so they both threw punches at Issei, who just sighed and caught both of their hands and glared at them. The two perverts looked at him in fear and pain as Issei squeezed down on their hands. My personal life is none of your damn business, and neither is Akino-chan's. Consider this your first and final warning. If I ever catch you peeping on Akino-chan or any other girls, you'll be in a lot more pain than you are now. Do I make myself clear? He asked while squeezing even harder, making the duo yell out in pain and nod furiously. Issei let go and the two ran away. Occult Research Club. Rias was sitting on the sofa drinking tea, seeming distracted with something. She turned when she heard the door open and saw Issei entering the room. So you came. Issei sat opposite her before speaking. Good afternoon, Rias-san, he said with a smile. Are you alright, Issei-kun? You just passed out yesterday. Issei nodded. I'm fine. I just remembered some things from the past. That's right, Albion said something about a seal on your memories being broken. He nodded again, and put on a serious expression. I wanted to thank you, Rias-san. The red-headed devil looked confused. For reviving Asia? Not just Asia, Akino too. She would be dead if you didn't save her. I can't even begin to thank you enough, so if you need anything, just ask and I'll do what I can to help. Instead of responding, Ria smiled and placed her cup down. She then sat next to Issei and brought her face close to his. Issei had an eyebrow raised as he was wondering what he was doing. He was left blushing furiously when her lips touched his forehead. What? That was my thank you and my apology, she explained. Apology? He asked, confused. I was willing to let you die for my own selfish gain. For that, I apologize. Apology accepted. Ria smiled. I probably should stop adoring you. The new girl might get jealous. Issei was confused until he heard a voice come from behind him. I see-san. When he turned around, the blonde girl, Asia, was trying hard to smile. Asia? The newly reincarnated devil looked mad. It has to be. Arias Bucho is very beautiful, so even I-see-san will like her. No. I can't think like that. Oh Lord. Please forgive my sinful heart. Asia does a prayer but she then screams, Ayu, I have a headache. Of course. If a devil makes a prayer to God, you will obviously receive a damage. Rias says it normally. Yu, that's right. I turned into a devil. I can't face God anymore. Asia seemed a bit troubled. Do you regret it? Rias asked Asia, who shook her head. No, thank you very much. No matter what situation I am in, I'm happy as long as I am with IC-san. Issei's face starts to turn red because of her embarrassing reply. Hearing that, Rias also smiled. I see, then it's okay. From today you will also be my servant, and I will make you work for me, and Issei will look after you. Hi! I will do my best. Asia replied very energetically. It was then Issei realized the change in Asia. Why didn't I realize it until now? Asia, that uniform. Asia was wearing the school uniform of Kuoh Academy, the girls' uniform. Does it suit me? She asked shyly. It looked great. We should take a photo with only the two of us. Hi. She was troubled with how to react. I decided to make Asia attend our school. Since she is about the same age as you, she's also in end year. I also made her in the same class as you. Tomorrow will be her first day, so make sure to look after her. Rias said to Issei. I will be in your care, IC-san. Asia bowed her head. At the same time the clubroom door opened, and the rest of Rias' peerage entered. Good morning, Bucho, IC-kun, Asia-san. Good morning, Bucho, IC-senpai, Asia-senpai. How are you all doing, Bucho, IC-kun, Asia-chan? Rias stood up. Since everyone is here, shall we start the party? Saying that, she clicked her fingers, and a big cake appeared on the table. It might be good to gather to do these kinds of things once in a while, right? Since we got new members, I made some cake, so let's eat it together. She said shyly. Not wasting a second, everyone started digging into the cake. The ORC were dismissed for the night, and Issei was getting ready to go to bed when he heard a knock on his door. When he opened it, he saw Rias and Asia stood next to a pile of labeled boxes. Rias-san, Asia-san, what are you doing here? Rias was the one to reply. Good evening, Issei, we need you to carry these inside, she said, gesturing to the boxes behind them. What? Why? Because Asia will be moving in with you. Issei narrowed his eyes. Last time I checked, people were supposed to ask if they could move in. I don't have any room anyway. That's a lie. I saw a spare bedroom the morning after I stayed over. Asia's eyes widened. Bibucho slept with IC-san? Issei turned to Asia. Not with my consent. He then turned back to Rias. The spare bedroom is for my parents if they come to visit. Asia looked downtrodden. Issei saw this and sighed, but I'm sure they won't mind if she uses it while they aren't here. Issei walked behind the two girls and started carrying the boxes inside. I don't mind you staying as long as you clean up after yourself. Hi, arigato IC-san. A month had passed since Asia had become a devil. The time that had passed had been particularly uneventful. Asia's introduction had made Issei even more enemies in the school, as Asia had openly proclaimed that he was living with him. I wonder what's wrong with Rias-san. The redhead seemed to be distracted by something, but whenever he asked, she would just deny that she was troubled. And that bird, it felt like it was watching me. Partner, I'm fairly certain that the bird was a familiar. What makes you so sure? Tell me, when was the last time you saw a phoenix in Japan? Or anywhere on Earth for that matter? Since when did you get so sarcastic? He thought with a smirk, but before Albion could reply, a red magic circle appeared on the ground with the insignia of the Gremory clan in the center. The circle flashed brightly, and the silhouette of a person could be seen in the light. Rias stepped out of the circle looking distressed. Rias-san. She ran over to Issei. Make love to me. Issei's mind went blank. Even Albion was speechless. Come again? I need you to take my virginity. Immediately. Issei was frozen in place, unable to move as she stripped from her clothes. Hurry, go to the bed. I will get ready for it now. Rias was now in her underwear. You're on your own, partner. Arias-san, what are you doing? I thought about all sorts of things, but this is the only method left. Method for what? If there is evidence, then they can't complain about it. The only person close to me who is able to do it with me is you. What about Kiba-kun? Yuta won't do it. He is a pure knight. He would decline it for sure. That's why you are the only one possible, Issei-kun. Rias then pushed Issei onto the bed and straddled him. She unhooked her bra and let it fall off while she took his hand and placed it on her right breast. This is your first time, right, Issei-kun? Issei nodded. I see. It's my first time as well, so let's do it till the end even if both of us have no experience. It's all right, it's very simple. You just have to put it inside here. Issei pushed Rias off of him. No, I won't do it. Rias' eyes widened when Issei sat on his desk chair. Are you choosing to deny me? Am I not good enough? No, that's not it. You're a beautiful girl, Rias, but I won't have sex with you. But why not? She asked, seeming really desperate at this point. Look, I don't know about you, but I want my first time to be special. I want it to be out of mutual love, not desperation. Did you even think about my feelings before you tried this? I am sorry, Issei. I'm just so desperate right now. My family's making me marry someone I hate. I thought that if I lose my virginity to someone else, they would cancel the marriage. Before Issei could reply, another magic circle appeared on the ground with the same pattern as the one Rias appeared from. Looks like I was a bit late, Issei silently gasped that voice. A silver-haired maid stepped out of the circle. Are you trying to break the agreement by doing something like this? Rias' eyebrow twitched. If I don't go this far, both Ota-sama and Oniai-sama won't listen to me, right? Both Surzek-sama and the master will be sad to find out that you tried to give your purity to some lowly person like this. Issei rubbed his temple. Geez, that hurts. Fie-chan. Both women looked at Issei when he spoke. Grafia raised an eyebrow and replied, I'm sorry, have we met? Issei was surprised that Grafia couldn't recognize him, but he quickly widened his eyes in realization. Oh right, the hair. It's me, Issei. Grafia smiled fondly. Apologies, Issei glared at her, causing the maid to sigh. Issei-kun. It's been a while, hasn't it? It looks like you've grown well, she said with a small blush that was only noticed by Rias, who was still confused at the interaction between the two. We can catch up later, Fie-chan. I'm guessing you're here for Rias-san? Grafia nodded and walked towards Rias. Grafia, did you come here of your own accord? Or because the household sent you? Or is it Oniai-sama? All of them. Rias sighed. Is that so? You, who as brothers, Queen, came to the human world personally. So it can only be one thing. I understand. She picked up the remainder of her clothes. I'm sorry, Issei-kun. Let's make it so the thing from earlier never happened. I wasn't thinking straight either. Let's forget about today's incident. Issei nodded. Grafia, let's go back to my room. I will listen to what you have to say over there. Akino can also attend, right? The priestess of thunder? I don't mind. It's a must for a high-class devil to have their queen by their side at all times. Grafia created another magic circle. Very well. Issei-kun. Rias walked over to Issei and kissed him on the cheek. Please, forgive me for today. I troubled you a lot. Let's meet tomorrow in the clubroom tomorrow. I'll explain everything then. Grafia also said goodbye before leaving with Rias through the magic circle. Issei sighed. I wonder what that was all about. Knock knock. Issei-san, I'm finished with the shower, Asia called from the other side of the door. Hi, Asia. After school the next day, Issei was walking to the club room with Asia and Kiba. On the way, Issei decided to ask Kiba about Rias' strange behavior. Bucho's problem? Maybe it has something to do with the House of Gremory, was his reply. Akino-chan would know, right? Kiba nodded in response to Issei's question. Akino-san is Bucho's most trusted servant, she would obviously know. The three continued walking into the building. Issei noticed a strong presence. So Fie-chan's here too. As they reached the ORC door, Kiba spoke. For me to finally realize this presence here. You've only just noticed. Issei shook his head and opened the door. Rias, Akino, Kaneko and Grafia were all already in the clubroom. Rias was sitting at her desk, wearing an unpleasant face. Akino was standing behind Rias, smiling as usual, although it seemed like it was forced. Grafia was still as stoic as usual, while Kaneko was sitting in a chair quietly in the corner. Issei heard Kiba mutter "Oh my," before he decided to follow Kaneko's lead and sit in the corner, while Asia and Kiba walked behind one of the sofas. Issei pulled out a book as he sat down. "I'd rather not get involved until I know what's going on. Looks like everyone is here. Before we start the club, there's something I need to tell all of you. Oju-sama, do you want me to explain the situation?" Rias rejected with a wave of her hand. Issei's eyes moved to the center of the room. The truth is, before she could finish, a magic circle appeared on the floor. However, this one was not from the Gremory clan. That symbol. Issei recognized the pattern in the center of the circle. Phoenix. The magic circle glows brighter and flames fill the room, causing the heat to rise greatly. A silhouette could be seen within the flames. The figure swings their arm to the side to disperse the flames. When the fire disappeared, Issei could see a man with blonde hair wearing a red suit without a tie, and the buttons were open to reveal his. It's been a while since I came to the human world. His eyes searched around the room until he spotted Rias. "My lovely Rias, I came to see you."